Testing 1, 2, 3. Welcome everybody to another boxing podcast, broadcasting to you live from the true north. This is your friend Mr. BDA, gunning solo for the moment. Hopefully more people jump in on an extra comfy late night stream. I am not going to be able to stream tomorrow, so might as well get it over with tonight. Thank you guys for joining us. I see we already got a packed house. We just had Terence Crawford. Spoilers for anybody that hasn't watched the fight yet. If you haven't, I don't know why you would be listening to this podcast. Terence Crawford just knocked out, or stopped, I should say, Kell Brook in the fourth round. And before we get down to the business, let's get the business and the fun out of the way, I should say, because we're going to get to some more fun rather than business. If you want to continue the gravy train a-rolling, you can certainly do so by donating to the Super Chat feature during the stream, or you can go to the Patreon page and the Discord page and donate over there. But the most important thing, guys, is that you continue to watch the show, listen, like, subscribe if you haven't already, and just essentially spread the BDA gospel. That's all you really got to do. And speaking of our loyal listeners, I see we got Cerny Banders, Paul Cortez in the chat, Paper Tiger, Kid Top Skull, Seamus Carey, One Hitter, Virtuoso, Andres Hernandez, Pikachu Boss, Norman Luis, Guerrero de la Info, Kevin from Chicago. Shout out to Kevin from Chicago. Shout out to the Quags. Shout out to St. Brit Sports, staying up late for this one. Boxing Virus, One Foot Out the Door, Gabe on Chili Recipes, James Thornton, and many more to come, I'm sure. Mario G, Chris K. Shout out to Chris K. And if I am correct, I think we just had a super chat as well from who donated the super. Oh, Luke Peterson. Shout out to Luke Peterson for his contribution. He says, why did the first count start at 5 with Brook? I didn't notice that. I'll have to rewatch that tomorrow, see what happened right there. Man, let me tell you. Well, by the way, I'm going to be opening up the phone line soon. I think I'm going to be opening them soon rather than later if nobody shows up here on the panel. Like I said, I'm gunning solo for the moment. I don't know how long we're going to go for, but I mean, it was pretty uneventful, right? I saw that people were getting pumped up in the Discord and in other YouTube streams at the beginning of the day. And then this happened. I thought Kell Brook was doing good, man. He was showing us what we knew he had in the arsenal, which was a good jab, good control of the distance. He was catching Crawford with some solid jabs in there. It almost seems unfair with Terence Crawford how hittable he seems and how, guys go in there with the right game plan. And then all of a sudden, boom, just, snaps out a couple of shots there, gets the guys hurt, and he takes them out. It's a little bit like Deontay Wilder when he was facing guys and they were, he wasn't doing much. In fact, in some cases, you could say he was getting outboxed, and then all of a sudden, whack. I'm not saying Crawford hits as hard as Deontay Wilder, mind you, but there's definitely that type of power right there, man. If any of the panelists, by the way, send me a fucking message. I don't know if you're there or not. My goodness. I told you we're going to do a podcast tonight. Maybe they're getting warmed up. I don't know, hopefully. What are people saying in the chat room? The shot that caught Crawford didn't even connect hard, says Paul Cortez. People legit saying Buddy's number one with this. Get the fuck out of here, says Elias 2Fix. Yeah, I agree, guys. Crawford to me is not pound for pound, man. He was pound for pound when he was in lightweight. Had a great run there. But him unifying 140 pounds didn't really do it for me. I wasn't that impressed by that. And the welterweight run is good, but it's not, he needs one of those big names. He absolutely does. So, I don't know what he's going to do next. I'm excited, though, for Errol Spence versus Danny Garcia. That's going to be, if Errol Spence shows up and demolishes poor Danny Garcia, man, Crawford and Errol Spence would have to be one of the biggest fights in boxing. Especially since both guys are not invincible. They're demolishers, but they seem like they can be gotten to. Like, if you can catch them and prevent them from catching you for 12 rounds, it's a big task, but it can be done. Then perhaps there's hope of beating them. But like I said, man, Crawford is just, the commentators were trying to say or allude to, hold on a second. the commenters were trying to say, well, Kell Brook looks big too. We don't know what the big deal is with Crawford. He doesn't. But Crawford's back.
Your show now.
It did look. I don't know. There was something about him. Obviously, he was a little bit taller, according to BoxRec, 1 inch taller. But he looked. Actually, Brook's supposed to be taller, I think, and Crawford had the reach advantage. But I mean, still, Crawford looked bigger than him. I don't know what it was. The back. I don't know if it's those orangutan arms of his that are extremely long. But I mean, my God, it's incredible, absolutely incredible. All right, listen, guys, I'm gonna be opening up the phone lines. Phone lines are open. Because I don't know. I'm going to wait for people to show up, see what happens. Who the fuck is this? Okay. Oh, and I'm a little tired too, so you got to give me a bit of a break here. Let's go to 334. You're on the air. 334. What's on your mind?
What's going on, BDA? It's Tony Stews, and I just came here to gloat on the dumb Brit stew. Is he on the line?
No, he's not here right now. I forget. What was the point of contention there?
Say that again.
What was the point of contention? I forget, between you and Stu.
No, he was telling me I didn't know what I was talking about, and I was off base, and all this stuff that Kell Brook was going to do. And I told him several times that Kell Brook was going to come in weight drained, and he did. You could see Kell Brook started to slow down in the third round. He started off decent in the first, second round. In the third round, he started to slow down, got tagged more and more. And in the fourth round, he slowed down even more and got knocked the fuck out because his body was weak. Weight drained. All the signs of it.
You know what? He certainly did look weight drained. I mean, I was watching that video they did, that video conference where they were jawing at each other last night on ESPN. And yeah, man, Brook looked like a Moroccan refugee or something. I mean, it was bizarre, man.
Yeah. He looked like he just woke up from the grave like a Walking Dead zombie extra. Like, he looked horrible.
But you know what?
And that's really...
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, that's really the only reason why I called in, because this is like the second time Buddy tried to talk. Like, I didn't know what I was talking about. And this is the second time I was right, and the second time he was wrong. And I just found it hilarious.
Well, listen, he's not here right now. Maybe Bucho's probably gonna host another show within the next couple of days. So we'll if you catch Stu there, I'm pretty sure he'll be delighted to hear your call. But as for the fight itself, were you surprised at how well Brook was doing?
No. See, here's the thing. I said I did a prediction video before this, and I said if this fight was at 152, 154, I believe Brook would beat Crawford hands down.
Whoa.
No questions asked. And Brook came out there. He was a lot more patient than I thought he was going to be in the first and second round, but he proved what I already knew, that he could outbox Terence Crawford. But he also proved what I already knew, that he was going to slow down. And when he slowed down, if you slow down against somebody like Bud, he's going to get you out of there fairly quickly. I just thought he would have been more durable to last longer. I didn't think he would be out of there that fast. But in that first and second round, Brook did exactly what I thought he would do. He would outbox him until he ran out of steam.
Hey, man, let me ask you, does it seem unfair to you, because this is like the second time or third or fourth, actually, where Crawford looks like he's not having his way, he's getting hit, the other guy's got a plan, and then all of a sudden, whack, he takes the guy out. It seems very Deontay Wilderish. I'm not saying Terence Crawford has the skills of Deontay Wilder, or the lack thereof. But what I'm saying is it almost seems like when he wants to, he catches guys and boom, that's it. That's all she wrote. Do you think he can pull that off against Errol Spence?
Well, here's the thing. I need to see Errol Spence back in the ring after the car wreck to even see if Errol Spence is Errol Spence. But if we're going to assume that he's the same fighter that he once was, I could see where Kell Brook's size was giving him issues in the first two rounds. And EJ's just as big as Kell Brook, but he can get to 147 safely and, be 100%. So I don't know if Terence Crawford could have that great comeback, like you said, against somebody like EJ, if EJ can put it on him early, because, Bud starts very slow. So I don't know. It's a big question mark there for me.
Now, final question. In regards to Terence Crawford, ESPN, the commentators, they're making this big thing of him being number one pound for pound. They announce him as the pound for pound king. What do you think about that? Disagree or agree with that?
No, I've always had him my number one pound for pound. I had
No
him
kidding.
before Lomachenko lost.
That's interesting, man. That's interesting. Anyway, man, we're going to move on to another phone call, but thank you for calling in. Anything else you want to say before we let you go?
Yeah. I'll just explain real fast how I do my pound for pound. So my pound for pound is pretty much based off of their accolades. So Terence Crawford is a multi-divisional champion, 3 divisions now. He cleared out 140 undisputed. And then my thing, too, is that I look at with these guys is it's not just about who they beat, but how they beat who they beat. And off of Crawford's dominance, because he's been at welterweight, he's knocked everybody out that he's fought, even though you could say lower opposition. In my opinion, he was just more dominant of a fighter. And it's that how dominant you are that I base you on my pound for pound with the accolades that go with it. And I just see him as the most dominant fighter on the list, in my opinion, with any OA behind him.
Mm-hmm. Well, listen, that's certainly a solid. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, but I appreciate you letting me on.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Take care out there, and talk to you on the next one. All right, man?
Yep.
Take it easy. All right, let's go to real quick. Oh, by the way, we got Gonzalo and Recognize on the line. Oh, and Jimmy as well. Fellas, thank you for being on.
Hey, how's it going, Mr. BDA?
I'm doing
how's
fantastic.
It going,
doing fantastic. How about everybody else?
We're good, man. We good.
What's
what a
up,
fight.
brother?
Good
what
to hear.
Great
All right.
Fight.
Listen, I want to get your comments, but before we do that, we got another phone call here. Let's get to it real quick. Don't forget, people, the phone lines are open if you want to call in and tell us your thoughts on what happened. 773, you're on the air. 773.
Kevin.
Before I get to Terence Crawford,
Oh, boy.
what's up, guys?
How you doing, man?
Gonzalo, BDA.
Oh, he got it
Bucho
right. He didn't
crew.
say Bucho. Most fucking callers, they think I'm Bucho. All right, go ahead, Kevin. What's on your mind?
Before I get to Terence Crawford, I gotta say another example of a robbery, of a travesty in boxing. Did you guys see the Maloney fight? Did you see that ordeal, that joke?
Yeah.
I heard about it, but I didn't see it. Why did you
I
break
saw
it?
it. Go ahead, Kevin.
It's just, I'm sure it's just another coincidence. A foreigner coming over here, and they weren't going to take their belts away from the Chicano Franco, managed by
Yeah, I don't agree, dude. This was a fuck.
He's got Robert Garcia in his corner. They were not going to take their belts away from him. Maloney had to knock him stiff. He's going to have to shut his lights out. And they were going to still give him an extra 10 seconds on the count. That's what they have to do to beat these guys. It's just another example. Latest example, seems like week after week, there's some robbery going on. The foreigner coming over here and getting chipped out of a title.
Wasn't there
a big title shot?
Wasn't there a UFC card tonight full of white fighters that you would have probably enjoyed more?
Come on, that's not what Kevin. What Kevin is talking about is I think he catches him with a punch and batted his eye.
He thumbed it, bro.
Yeah, and they called it
with a thumb.
He caught him with a thumb?
Yep, total thumb shot right in the eye. I called the thumb shot the minute it happened. I said, that's a thumb. A headbutt doesn't do that.
So what are they saying? Thumb, I guess thumb don't count, right?
Yeah, well, a thumb should still be a knockout. I mean, he still should have got it. I mean, because
that's what I
back
thought
in the
too,
day, once they secured the thumb, to the glove. They stopped. Before you could say it was a thumb, an accidental thumb, but now that they secured the glove, they don't call it anymore. They call it a knockout. But it was an absolute. I mean, yes, Maloney should have won, but the same token, he said that kid should feel good about that belt right now. He knows I won. Same token, I mean, a thumb shot to the eye, but I didn't like the fact that fucking that Spanish kid took the op out. He knew, fuck, it's not 4 rounds. I can get out of here this right now. That dumb referee's calling that a headbutt. All I have to do is walk out of here right now with my belt. He took full advantage of it.
Kevin, did you see the same thing Jimmy saw?
Yeah, I'm glad I don't even think it was a thumb. It was a punch. It was a straight.
No, it was it caught him with a thumb, bro. Trust me. Swear to God, you watch as the days go on.
Hey, let's not swear to God over here. Let's not start swearing.
I saw it differently. I saw it a clean punch. Either way, thumb or not, it was a punch. It was a clean punch, legal punch. It wasn't a headbutt. You saw when the punch landed, he covered it. It started balloon up, started to swell up right after he landed the punch.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Stiff jabs.
Us Spanish got magic.
All round.
Yeah, it's a
shout out to, you know what I am shocked though?
What?
I'm shocked that they actually called it out. Joe Tessitore. I'm shocked that they actually did the right thing and called it out and said, this athletic commission, they're about to rob this kid. What are they doing? It's obviously a clear punch. I'm shocked that happened and they didn't just go along with it. Oh, yeah, well, it's a headbutt. So I got to give
he had to. He had Bob Arum right next to him flipping out. Remember, Bob Arum was fucking jumping up and down. He was screaming at the fucking dude from NASTEC, who was actually the one, the guy who was supposed to flip the light on to call for the fucking replay didn't do it. It was actually the guy there fucking from the head of the NASTEC. I can't remember his name. His brother runs the place in New York, the fucking Barclays Center. Those two brothers. Anyways, him. He's the one who called for the replay.
The referee, what's his name? Mora? What a joke.
Oh, yeah.
Mora. And then he's sitting, and then they saw Garcia in the corner. What are they going to do? They're going to try to take his belt away? That was a headbutt. I saw it. I saw it was a headbutt.
No. Russell Mora is the same. Russell Mora is the same.
In Vegas tonight.
Listen, Russell Mora is the same guy that led. Sorry, man, I talked all over you. I apologize.
Russell Mora is the same guy that let Salido.
No, the Maris. Forget about Salido. Maris, low blowing. Poor Agbeko, like about 9 years ago. The motherfucker. I don't think Agbeko can have kids anymore. I'm pretty sure his voice rose 2 octaves after that fight with Maris. But by the way, anyway, Kevin, listen, we got a long show here. So tell us your thoughts on the Crawford.
Right, I'm going to talk
Brook fight.
All right. Crawford, I called him last week. I said Crawford 7th round stoppage. And people were saying, oh, this is potentially to be a good fight. I think Brook can test him, blah, blah, blah. No, I said he's going to fold. He's going to melt. That's what I said. And he melted faster than I even thought he would. People were saying, oh, he won the first 2 rounds. He looked good. Yeah, cool. He looked good for 2 rounds. He had a nice jab for 2 rounds. And then what happened? Then
that's
he
a good point.
And then he melted. And but people are trying to hype up this win. Freaking Kell Brook is washed, man. He was damaged goods. He was weight trained.
I agree.
You know why people were saying, we're so excited for the Lomachenko versus Lopez fight? Because they knew Lopez was a live dog. They knew he was young, strong, durable, undefeated, powerful, explosive, everything that you need to cause an upset.
That's right.
And that's why this fight was so excited. That's why there was so much hype around it. This fight, anybody with half a brain knew that freaking Kell Brook was going to melt. He's going to fold under pressure.
Would you stop saying melting?
Again.
The Wicked Witch of the West over here. I'm melting. Stop saying melting. We get it. Yeah. But listen, Kevin, are you surprised at how, I keep asking this question, are you surprised at how easy it is for Crawford that, things aren't going his way? He's getting out jabbed against Kavaluskas. He's hitting right hand after right hand. And then all of a sudden, he just starts walking guys down and takes them out with 1 shot. And then a follow flurry. Does it seem bizarre how strong this guy is in there?
I'm not surprised. I told you, when he makes his mind up and he wants to get someone out of there, he turns up the heat, turns up the pressure. Guys fold. They get away out of there. They just melt under this pressure. I don't know. He's good, but we will not know if he's that good unless he fights in Earl Spence, unless he fights in Manny Pacquiao. But beating up Jeff Horn and Kell Brook, that just doesn't show me anything. It doesn't prove anything. It's just, well, we already know he's an elite fighter, but we're talking a pound for pound best fighter in the world. Kell Brook is not going to get you there, and that's a problem with boxing. But I would say this: it's another example. Maloney got robbed by the Chicano and the Chicano ref.
Hey, it's the white man's burden, man. They fucked the Mexicans over for a while too, so it's the white man's burden, man.
That's right.
White man's burden, Lloyd, my man. White man's burden.
Right.
That's the way it works, my man. All right,
Kevin, he deserved it. Kevin, he deserved it.
He dropped out, man. He dropped out. People in the chat room are saying that they're surprised he didn't blame the juice. All right, one more phone call here. 719, you're on the air. 719. What's on your mind?
Man, that fight was fixed, bro. Fight was fixed, bro. I don't care what nobody say. He ain't touched the ground one time, and they try to act like he got knocked down and did an 8 count. That was rehearsed, man. That had to be rehearsed. They knew what was gonna happen before it happened, so they started counting. Like, man.
For some reason,
he doesn't have to touch the ground.
Hey, Brotherhood. For some reason, when he punched him, I thought of you right away.
Yeah, when he hit him with a jab, man. He hit him with a jab. You acting like since when did Terence Crawford start hurting people with jabs?
It was a check hook. It wasn't a jab.
It was a check. Yeah, it was like a check hook, bro.
Check. It was more of a check hook.
I think it was a check.
If the ropes. I'm sorry, brother. Go.
I'm sorry, Jimmy. I was going to tell Brotherhood. He caught him in that fucking eye. I think that's the same eye that Spence fucked up.
I think he got him right because I rewound it and I froze it and I watched it in slow-mo, super slow-mo and shit, and he got him kind of on a check hook right on the end of the button. But what happened was the ropes held him up. A fighter doesn't have to go down. If the ref thinks the ropes is what kept him up, he can make the call and stop, especially in Vegas. They can do a standing 8 count.
Oh, that's not what happened. This dude literally got hit in the face with a jab and ran to the ropes. It ain't like he got stumbled to the ropes. This man ran to the ropes.
Okay, all right.
It's like it was rehearsed,
you have to listen to this.
Like,
you know what?
It was ugly.
Yeah, I think.
He didn't hit the ground one time.
Well, I mean, he doesn't have to hit the ground there, Brotherhood. Come on. But now listen, I think that knowing you, no matter what anybody says, you already got your mind made up. So let me ask you this. Depending on how Errol Spence looks against Crawford, let's say against Garcia, he doesn't look all that great. Are you going to pick Crawford over him?
What's this got to do with Spence?
Because this is what's going to happen probably. I mean, Crawford and Spence are probably going to tango sometime in the future. But Spence has to win.
That fight's going to happen next year.
So I'm asking, some Brotherhood, I'm asking you, I'm curious to get your point of view of, if Crawford beats Spence, are you going to give him credit or are you going to wait until the Garcia fight and see how he looks? And if he looks bad, are you going to not give Crawford credit?
If he beat any actual PBC fighter that came over to give him a real fight, then yeah, of course I'm gonna give him credit. But these guys they pulling over from England or Britain or whatever it is, they coming over here to take dives to make this man look good so he can get his big payday, and they getting paid off all this money.
All right,
no, I'm not. I'm not counting that, bro. He's not
Brotherhood.
He's not having it. He's not having it.
Okay, look, Brotherhood. This is what I would say. I don't think they really needed to do that for Brook. He was drained, bro. Look at his face. Even when he filled up, he looked tired in there. And as soon as he got hit in the same spot that I believe, because remember he got damage in both the eyes. The one that he hit that Crawford hit him with was the same eye that Spence busted up in that fight. So he's damaged goods. I mean, look. I would say this.
So
his power looked a little extra.
Let me ask you this. Can I ask you this? You telling me this man got his brain scrambled from a freaking jab, bro? It just because
I was going to say there was something a little extra about his.
Let me finish. Please.
Yeah, let him finish. What the fuck?
I'm sorry.
Can I finish, please?
Yeah, go ahead.
This show all day. Let me finish. You telling me his brains got scrambled because he got hit in the eye that was hurt previously? You telling me his eye being hurt previously means his brain gets scrambled from getting hit in the same eye? That's what you're trying to explain to me?
Yeah, is that what you're trying to explain to him?
What I'm trying to say is that Bud's punches were a little heavier in this fight. You can make your assumptions of what he probably did. You know, he probably lifted a lot of weights or whatever. But my point is that I don't think you need Kell Brook to like be in on a fight that he was destined to lose. I mean, He was drained. He's damaged goods. I agree with you. He's damaged goods. I don't take nothing away from this fight.
Like, Does this story seem possible? Does this story seem possible?
Right. I don't think.
Are we saying Crawford has a harder jab than Triple G? He got hit with right hands by Triple G and stayed on his feet, bro. Triple G didn't even knock him down.
Against a drained Kell Brook who's damaged goods. That eye he hit him with, that shot that he hit him with in that eye, in that spot, which was his right eye, is the same one that Earl Spence damaged already, bro. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah, he lost his balance. He lost his balance and he wasn't running. It's like a baby that's head is like really big.
All right, listen. Anyway, man, I don't think we're gonna convince Brotherhood of this, but Brotherhood, Crawford, they're saying he's the number 1 pound for pound fighter. That's all they kept saying on ESPN. The pound for pound, they announced him as the pound for pound king. Do you agree or disagree with it?
Hell no, I don't agree. No, hell no.
I agree with Brotherhood. I don't agree with that either. Hell no.
But he's also saying Brook came over here and took a dive. I mean, like, these people have no pride, right? They're gonna fucking take a dive. These people who say that, they just, you can tell people who say that have never been in a fight, probably in the street, definitely never been in the ring.
How dare you? How dare you?
You're recognized.
Hold on, fellas, hold on. Let's Brotherhood respond to that. Go ahead, Brotherhood, and then we got to move on. Go ahead, Brotherhood.
You're going to be on this show. My call has a time limit. You're going to be on this show. You can say whatever you want after I'm done. You telling me? Oh man, bro! Like I can't.
Well, I'm telling you. At the end of the fight, the first thing he said to his corner was, "What happened?" He was out on his fucking feet.
That seemed fake to me too. That was a little bit overacting from Brooks' part. He didn't have to go that far. He just had to say, "Oh man, I got hurt." The fact that he went that far and said,
I think Brotherhood is missing the point that Kell
you're missing the point.
Done. He was done. He's not. Yeah. I don't take. Listen, I take Earl. Put Earl.
I'm not going to disrespect Brook and say he was done. That just didn't look like. That just didn't look real, bro. I'm not. I was never going to discredit Brook. That just fake,
Brotherhood. Bro. You know, a baby, when you're teaching him how to walk, but his head's like really big and he can't retain his balance. How he just starts running. That was Kell Brook, man.
A retarded baby.
A baby. You know what? You know when a baby's head is really big, his head is really big, and he's barely learning how to walk. Then you let him go, and then he just starts running because he can't keep his balance because his head is too big.
Listen, that Kell Brook that was in the ring, Earl Spence puts him to sleep. He put him to sleep.
His ankle was folded over, so when he came the weight down, right after he caught him with the check hook, his lead ankle folded. So when he put his weight on it, when you put your weight on a folded ankle, whatever way the fold goes, that's the way you're gonna go running. And he was a little goofy because he just took one on the chin. So the ropes held him up. He was just got caught running, but still, man needs to retire.
Is it me or Terence Crawford look bigger than this?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah. Terence Crawford's shoulders look bigger. He definitely looks like he's grown into that 147. But Brook, still, no doubt about it. Brook, whether it's partying, whether it's cumulative beating, he is not the same fighter. Because
I don't understand how Brook struggles. He looked like a fucking Yemeni refugee in the weigh-in and even during the fight. Meanwhile, Crawford is a fucking giant, and he seems okay after the weigh-in. He seems like he's full of zest and zeal for life. Something's up here. And by the way, Brotherhood, we're gonna have to move on. But I suggest you make a video about this whole controversy because I think you're onto something. I'm not kidding. I really do think you're onto something. And we'll catch you on the next one. All right, man? And by the way, I'm going to...
I get before I go, I get it now. I see why he ain't negotiating with Porter and Thurman because they ain't going to be willing to take no dive unlike these other...
I think you're onto something. No, I think... Yeah. All right. Peace, man. Take it easy. And I will be depositing a couple of shekels on your account in regards to this phone call. All right, take it easy, my man.
That's right.
I was gonna say, you mentioned Deontay Wilder earlier, BDA. I've been trying to understand how hard Crawford hits now that he's moved up. The power is real, man. He's got the long arm, 72-inch reach. He got a lot of torque, and he puts a lot of leverage, although he's not fully extending on those shots. With that chick hook, he just threw it like it was a short shot for mid-range because he had his arms partially extended. But even with that, those long arms, you got to surmise that he's got long fingers, big hands. So the guy, now that he's filled out, he's been able to carry the weight on that frame because the frame is big. The guy's got power, man.
I think you're right.
He's knocking everybody out.
Bucho, I mean, BDA, can I tell you something also, too? With, sorry, BDA, but...
No.
Crawford, he took that serious to post-tell what happened. Listen, he read the fucking Twitter. He read fucking Instagram. He pissed off, including everybody, I believe, on this panel. I mean, the way he coasted those last couple of rounds with Postel, that especially during a pay-per-view. He read it. Like he said, he told people he knew he made a mistake, and he doesn't want to be known as a boring fighter. And I think since then, it seems like he's been putting more on his, like Recognize said, seems like, and you said too, putting a little bit more on his punches.
He's always been a power puncher, though. I mean, even at lightweight, junior welterweight, he's been knocking. The last guy, think about it, the last guy that went the distance was Victor Polso, who's been in there with high-level fighters, and nobody's been able to stop him. And that was 4 years ago. Everybody else is stopping. And I know people are going to say, oh, they're not top welterweights. They're not Porter and Spence. Look at how he's beating them up, man, and stopping them. Now, the Brook thing, I'm not kidding. I think Brotherhood, when I saw that stoppage, I said, okay, it was a good stoppage. But when he went as far as saying, what happened? I don't know. That seemed a little suspect to me. Anyway, before we continue, by the way, guys, shout out to Luke Peterson from a while back. He gave via the super chat and he says, why did they start the count at five? The fight was done.
Because what you do right when the ref steps in. So once the ref runs over and steps into the action, there's a guy next to the timekeeper.
That's right.
And he puts his hands up and he starts counting automatically 1.
Yeah.
And that's why you'll see the ref turn and he picks the count up. He picked it up at 5. So the kid's right. He did start at 5, but he was just picking the count up.
Right.
Because the guy saw the same thing. The guy on the side of the ring, because he's going to look at it. He's not going to be. They're not responding to the referee. They're acting in their mind like they're the ref. This is what I would do. Those ropes held him up. I'm going to start the count.
That's exactly what I was thinking now. All right. Yeah, makes sense, man. Thank you, Stu. Thank you, Jimmy. It's Stu.
They did stop it a little early, though. It was kind of anticlimactic. They should have let it go after the second. Second intervention.
He jumped in too soon. I agree.
I think so too. But I think
he jumped in too soon.
I think that was probably what was going to end up happening anyway. But yeah, like the stoppage was a little too soon.
Yeah.
I mean, credit. Sorry, he's a good finisher too. So credit to Crawford. He probably would have taken him out.
Yeah, he probably was about to lay him out, man. I mean, he was going to take another knee probably, and then boom, that was it. Real quick, let's go to 407. You're on the air, 407.
Hey guys, it's been a while. It's Boricua over here.
Oh, Boricua. Thank you for calling in.
Boricua.
Hey, what's up? From what Brotherhood said, I feel like, first of all, with the what happened thing, I feel like Brook probably felt like the fight was stopped early and he probably wanted to do a little more. Honestly, I think he was just going to look like a bobblehead, kind of like Maurice Hooker with Jose Ramirez. That kind of stoppage if it kept on going. And another thing that I was mainly going to bring up was Crawford. I don't think he had more power, but I did think he looked physically stronger. Like, for example, there was one point in the fight where like they got into a clinch and Crawford just carried him like a briefcase. I was like, oh my goodness. And I think it was Jimmy that said it. Well, I think Jimmy said it, that his arms looked bigger and stuff. Yes, I also did catch that too. Now, with the Spence fight, I think Crawford's going to knock him out brutally.
Oh. Whoa. You think Crawford knocks Spence out?
I'll be shocked.
Well, hold on. Are you saying that because of the accident? Or if he looks sensational against Danny Garcia, are you going to change your tune?
If he looks dumb with Danny Garcia, I'll think it goes to points, but I think Spence gets knocked out. I think he's a little chinny. People don't bring that up, though.
Okay, so
maybe they'll knock each other down.
Maybe. So this is dependent on how Spence looks.
Yeah. I'm honestly scared of that fight because I just hope Spence doesn't get put into critical condition because Danny can crack.
He's got those 6 toes. He's not kidding. Yeah.
But we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out if I always say this when it comes to Spence. Now, it all depends on how healthy he is. If he's healthy, and he's more or less the same fighter that fought against Sean Porter, and before that Spence, I see it's going to be, put it this way, if Spence gets knocked out by Crawford and he's like healthy like that, I'll be shocked.
Yeah, and Crawford's making 147 comfortably. He came in like half a pound lighter, and Spence is a big dude.
Yeah, there'll be only one person struggling to make weight that night. There'll be the same thing. It'd be his Spence handling it. Because remember, they've been talking about since the Coney Island fight. Since Spence fought on Coney Island, that was 4 years ago. They've been talking about him struggling to make 147. It's becoming a thing. So
that's true.
Yeah, that could be a problem.
Whereas Crawford really was fucking yeah.
Go ahead, Borico. Go ahead.
I think it's going to be a street fight. I think the Crawford-Spence fight's going to be a street fight to the point where someone's going to get stopped either way.
I think you might be correct, man.
I think they're both going to. I think both are going to be too afraid to get outboxed by one another, so they're just going to say, "Forget it. Let's just trade."
Mm-hmm. I think so too,
well,
man.
Their style of fighting will dictate that street fight. Exactly, I agree.
I hope so. But hey, listen, like we're saying, Spence has to get past Danny Garcia first, man, which is no easy task. Garcia's got those 6 toes. He's got Angel in the corner. I mean, he's got it all, man.
Danny Garcia ain't no crook.
Nah, he got that solid chin, man. Yep.
I think going Crawford.
Go ahead, Boricua.
Honestly, I think the best chins are either Porter or Danny, in my opinion. Both Spence and Crawford have been wobbled at times, which I've seen, and Spence doesn't like getting hit, and you can tell by his body language, even if he doesn't get rattled. Now, if Danny wins, I would either like to see a Danny and Porter rematch because I think that would still be an entertaining fight, maybe even more than the first one. If not, Porter versus Crawford.
Porter versus Crawford. Yeah, man, that wouldn't be bad. I mean, there's choices to be made. And by the way, Crawford might no longer be with Top Rank in the future, so we got to stay and watch for.
I'd be surprised if he leaves.
You think so?
Personally, but
he's getting good money. He's getting good money, right, Jimmy?
Yeah, he gets good money, and he knows he's the king there now and shit. Plus, there's no guarantees if he goes to the PBC, he's just not going to get shelved like the rest of them. You know what I mean? One time a year.
That's true. That's absolutely true. Anyway, listen, Boricua, we have to move on. Anything else you want to say before we let you
go? Maybe in an Anything Goes show, because I've had a lot to say, and I haven't, but I've been busy and stuff, so I'll just leave it for later.
Fantastic. Thank you for calling in, man. Take it easy. Have a good night.
All right. Y'all have a great evening. Stay safe. God bless.
You too, man. All right. Let's go to weird ass number over here. 1111. You're in the air. 111111. Hello? You're on the air. You're on the air. Yeah.
You can hear me?
You're on the barely, man.
Hey,
what's on your mind?
Hey, what's up, guys? No, I just want to say I was impressed with the fight. Crawford had to do what he had to do to win. I kind of agree with what some of the other guys are saying that Brook did look a little bit weak and I guess drained, if you want to call it that. But the thing that I'm surprised is I was actually curious to hear what Crawford and what Aram were gonna talk about, in the interview in the closing fight. And it looks to me that if Crawford really still wants the Pacquiao fight, man, I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't get that fight. That he might actually retire, man, like in a year or so, because I don't see how he's gonna. I mean, if he goes over to the Premier Boxing Champions. And those fights get delayed. He's just wasting time. I don't know how good those pay-per-views are doing over there. I guess what I'm trying to say is I got a bit upset that they've compared Crawford to, Sugar Ray Leonard or Hearns. I think you guys heard that. I just want to see.
Yeah, Bob Arum did.
So for me, I want to see Crawford fight, a champion at 154 and then call it quits. Just because we know Sugar Ray and Hearns, man, they fought some real hard punchers, man, and like Hagler and just going up in general. So I think if Crawford's not calling out guys at 154, in my opinion, because he looks like a strong welterweight, he looks good. Hey man, why not just go move up and then fight a better champion. Because as far as
But caller,
I think honestly,
Sugar Ray started at
I don't
welterweight.
think
He didn't start at 140.
Or
yeah,
135.
but Crawford was also
135. Yeah,
Crawford looked really weak at 135. So,
Hey,
and back in the older days, they weren't doing what they're doing nowadays. So that's all I had to say on that, man. But yeah, man, I just want to see the best fight the best, and hopefully Crawford can not really focus on Pacquiao and just either fight Spence soon or fight somebody at 154, and that's
I
it.
agree,
Anyways, man,
but
thanks
not
for the call,
154.
man, and you guys have a good one.
You too, man. Take it easy. Thank you for calling in. Yeah, I mean, listen, guys. The fact is that Crawford's going to be 34, and like I asked
he's creeping up there, bro. He's
like I asked in the pre-fight show, like, what's his best win? What's his signature win?
You would probably have to say tonight because of the fact he took him out in the 4th round.
Yeah.
But isn't that
everything hinges on what? What all the other guys have done that Crawford hasn't done? Maybe Danny Garcia is a name that the other guys have in common that he doesn't have.
That's a good point.
Man, they're all kind of similar. Maybe one stands out a little bit more, like Spence win over Sean Porter, but then again, Kell Brook beat him. I mean, I don't know. It's tough to say in terms of resume. I think that at welterweight, I think Earl Spence is a little bit more polished than Bud Crawford, obviously. So, I mean, look, until they get in the ring, I gotta see something from Earl Spence. And what I mean by that is, obviously after the car accident, then the whole COVID thing, I want to see if he can still take, a beating and give a beating back like he did with Sean Porter. If he's that guy, I feel comfortable picking him over Bud Crawford, who's going to be it'll be a good fight either way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, man, because all these guys, like you said, it's I think obviously Spence has the advantage over other welterweights in terms of resume because he does have the Chris Algieri win, the Brook win, the Porter win. His resume just looks better because of those. At least the Porter fight, the recent Porter fight, and Crawford definitely has to fight the winner of Spence Garcia, man. Because look, he's about 34 years old, man. They're comparing him to Sugar Ray Leonard. Look at Sugar Ray Leonard's career when he was in his mid-20s or late 20s, and compare it to Crawford. I mean, yeah, Crawford did good work at lightweight, but man, that was like about 6-7 years ago. He needs to fight one of the top welterweights.
And
right now.
Something too. BDA, Crawford's resume at welterweight is not that bad. Some people over-exaggerate. It's actually pretty good. He beat Kavaluskas in the last fight. Now he beat Kell Brook. Say what you want about Jeff Horn. He fucking, he was very nasty in that fight against nasty and effective against Manny Pacquiao. So, they're not terrible. That's not a terrible resume.
Who was nasty?
They're not names. They're not names, but it's not and sometimes people mistake like a name with a good opponent. Just because he's got a name doesn't mean always that he's the best opponent either. Oh, just because he's got the Danny Garcia, the Keith Thurman name that resonates with people doesn't mean those guys were way better than the other guys.
Yeah, that's true, I'm with you there. I'm with you there, Gonzalo. I don't rate Danny Garcia at all at 147. I think he's a fucking slug.
Wait. Did you mean Mikey slug. Garcia or Danny Garcia? I think I misheard.
Danny Garcia.
Wait a minute. Jimmy,
who has no power at 147. He's slow. His feet are in mud. He drags his back leg. You can't cut the ring off.
See, I disagree, Jimmy. I disagree with Danny Garcia not having any power. I mean, look, the guys he's knocked out are solid fellas. Like he stopped Malignaggi, he stopped Samuel Vargas, he's been the only one to stop Granados. Porter couldn't do it.
At what weight?
147.
Was it 147? Oh yeah, well Granados is fucking. I mean, he's a sharp-worn gatekeeper by the time Danny got a hold of him. But yeah, no, I mean, really, he went 7 years without stopping anybody. Or 6 years without stopping anybody. Mm-hmm. And in the interim, he lost probably 3 that he got credited for. Like when he went down to Puerto Rico, I just think he's a kid who should have stayed at 140. He chased the money up to 147, and he left his power. The same thing with Broner. The worst thing he ever did was go up to 147.
Yeah, that's true, man.
And
go ahead.
Is Sean Porter a great fighter, BDA? Is he a great fighter?
Well, great fighter. Look, I'll relegate them right now.
He's
to
very
top.
good. He's
I'll
on that
relegate
very
them.
good.
Recognize. I'll relegate them to top fighters. What do you think? Because great is
especially exactly, especially at their respective weight class. Like you got Sean Porter. How many guys at welterweight are better than him? That like you had like okay, Earl Spence is considered one of the best at welterweight. He could have won that fight. You know, like some people thought that he could have put. You know, you would have actually. One judge agrees that he won the fight. So, and you think Sean Porter versus Danny Garcia, he didn't blow him out. He won by inches basically.
Exactly, man. I mean, look at fucking De La Hoya, man. 1999. Look at the year he had. He fought I Corte in the beginning. I Corte was one of the top 3 welterweights in the world. A lot of people thought he was the number 1 guy. Then he fights Obakar, one of the top contenders. Then he fights Felix Trinidad, the guy that people consider the number 1, 2 welterweight, a monster. That was a fantastic year. Look at Errol Spence. One big fight here, then another 3 years, another big fight there. Same thing with Crawford. This guy needs to step it up, man. They're in their mid-30s. Well, Crawford is. And the welterweight has, and now he's talking about how my career's set without Spence. Bullshit. He's got to fight. He's got to fight. Spence.
He's saying that because he's saying that probably to fucking maybe like he's not chasing it. Because listen, the bottom line is too, and I'll tell you right now, I might not be around to see it. Who knows, right, where things are going in life? But I guarantee you this: if fucking Heyman doesn't make this fight, they're gonna freeze his ass out. I guarantee you, whatever promotions are still hanging around, they're gonna just squeeze him out because now he doesn't own any belts in the heavyweight division. He's relegated just to a handful of divisions that he still even has championship belts that he has full control over. Some fighters he doesn't have full control over anymore, like when the PBC first started. But they're gonna they will make him. They won't match his fighters. They'll go out of his way not to match his fighters, as they should, because I don't give a fuck. The fact that people are actually saying, well, maybe you should join the PBC, that way he can fight him. Fuck that.
That's
Freeze
the problem.
those assholes out.
That's the problem with people's mindset. It's like, listen, no, he shouldn't. I get what they're coming from, but in reality, that's not what.
Yeah, you don't reward these guys because they're afraid to fucking. I mean, bottom line is, listen, I like Porter too. I say it all the time. One of my favorite guys in boxing. Good kid. I like his dad. Kid's got his head on straight. But I mean, he's a fucking he's like a bull in a china shop. He doesn't have concussive power. He's got a gallon neck. He's a football player, and at 147, these guys can't hurt him. But yeah, he's not talented, like a talented fighter. You would this way. Would anybody train a kid and say, okay, let's put on some Porter tapes to learn how to box?
He does, he does some things well for a guy with his disadvantages. Anyway, real quick, let's go to another phone call here. 202, you're on the air. 202, you're on the air. 202.
Hello?
Yes, 202, you're on the air. What's on your mind?
Hey, how's it going? This fight, man, it looked like because I'm really not impressed with Crawford in this fight. Like Kell, he looked like a guy that was, like struggling because of him making that weight. Like he just looked fatigued the whole fight. It looked like he didn't have anything in him.
Yeah, man. I mean, that was the main point of contention coming in. Like, is he gonna be able to compete, especially in the late rounds?
Even the first 2 rounds, did you see BDA? He was very cautious of movement and shit like that. Like, I thought he did good in the first 2 rounds. I thought he was actually winning.
Right.
Well, Crawford came out as a right-hander too. We got to remember that.
Right. So he came out right-handed, and then in the 3rd round he switched it up. He went to lefty, and that's where he found his success at. But to the caller's point, I did notice even in the fight, even the first 2 rounds when he was winning, he looked like he was very cautious about movement.
Sure.
He's studying timing.
I mean, he almost like he was trying to preserve, stamina.
Yes.
I mean, I'll say this, when Crawford tends to, switch, from orthodox to, southpaw, like I did see that, like in Kell Brook, it was kind of like he was kind of, like it looked like he threw him off balance, but like I'm speaking more of, the fatigue. I mean, he just looked like he didn't look like a fighter out there, man. It just looked like
Did you see how Caller? Did you see how wide? Caller, did you see how wide open his eyes were when he was like looking at? Obviously you're supposed to look at your opponent, but his eyes were so wide. Like I felt like the guy was on super alert because of what he knows he's bringing to that fight.
Mm-hmm.
To me, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I saw a guy who was like nervous about, maybe him having to move too much or getting caught with a shot and him not able to take it.
Well, rightly so, man. I mean, look at how the fight ended. Now, Caller, you mentioned that from what we're getting here, you're not all that impressed with what the opposition there for Crawford. So right now, with Crawford's been talking about how, my legacy's set, my legacy this. I don't know if he's bluffing, if he's trying to get Spence to lower his guard or whatever, but he seems to be indicating that he's happy with his career. Do you think the Spence fight happens?
If him and the Spence fight happens, you know what? To be honest, I don't see. It's hard to say, but I will have to go with Spence in that fight. I mean, Spence is, we all know how dominant Spence can be. Everybody's worried. Even mine. I'll admit it that after the accident and with everything that's going on right now, how well he'll be and how conditioned he'll be. But if he comes back as that same that same fighter we all know, then if the fight does happen, I see it going to Spence all the way. I mean, same as this fight coming up with him and Garcia. I mean, in my personal opinion, Spence has already fought the best Garcia. He's already fought the best fighter with that last name, in my opinion.
You know what? That's how we know it's a Spence Crawford fight would be good going in, because you have every time somebody calls in, they say, "Oh, I'm picking Crawford." Then other people are saying, "I'm picking Spence." Other people are saying Crawford. So that's how you know it's going to be a great fight. But Spence has to look good against Danny Garcia. So we're going to have to see all about that. Anyway, listen. Anything else you want to say before we move on?
No, man. That was pretty it. That was pretty much it. I'm kind of disappointed, but I wish I could have seen more. But it is what it is. I guess we can hope and pray that we'll finally eventually see. If that fight does happen, if that Earl and Crawford fight does happen.
Absolutely, man.
Thanks, guys. You stay
No
blessed.
problem. Go get high or something. Make up for the fight. All right, take it easy, man.
Have a nice little drink. You know what I'm saying?
Go sniff
I
the
see
line.
Crawford hurting Spence, man.
Yeah,
he could. No. Listen. I'm not. When I say I think Spence will beat him, like I'm not saying it's not going to be no competition. Listen, Bud could hurt him, and again, I have to go to this, man. We don't know. I know Spence fans, they get mad at me. Oh, well, why you keep bringing? Yo, he got into a fucking car accident, bro. He got thrown out of the car. I hope he's okay, because I love what I saw from him in his last fight. Okay, he was in a dog fight, and he stayed in it. He stayed in that fight.
This is the reason why I see this going down like that. Because look,
What is that?
Errol Spence. This Jimmy over there. Errol Spence.
Who was that?
Errol Spence hits really hard. He's got that type of break you down type of power. But he's not really like an explosive fighter because he doesn't throw with a lot of speed. He just chips away very hard with two-hand assault. But, if he comes forward seeking to go into a break you down type of fight against Crawford, Crawford is going to respond with them long, lengthy arms. He's going to throw them short shots from mid-range, and he's going to bring out that dog in Terence Crawford. And you don't want to go in there trying to trade shots with Terence Crawford, because Terence Crawford is a little more explosive. He gets more leverage on his shots. And he's going to find the openings to hurt Spence, because Spence is coming forward. And he can also retreat if he needs to retreat to create that separation and not always fight Spence's fight.
That's why I'm so excited for this fight, man. that's why I'm so excited for this potential fight, man, because it would be a dog fight and a firefight, man. I want to see it. 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 I want to see it right now. But by the way, before we continue, man, we got Uncle Pete on the line. Pete, are you there?
You guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, man. Did you survive the storm?
What a fucking card. What a night of boxing, boys.
I sense a little sarcasm there. I sense a little sarcasm. All right.
Yeah, especially with that little profile pic you got there.
You see that? Hey, you gotta replay it.
Terence Crawford is the greatest fighter. He would have beaten Muhammad Ali. He would have beaten Tommy Hearns. He would have beaten Sugar Ray.
Okay,
Bob Bennett was like, "Get out of here, Bob Arum. You can't be here. I'm the commissioner. You can't be talking to us like on camera." He's screaming at him after that fucking first fight with the headbutt.
You motherfuckers will learn to respect me one day.
Look at the replay, goddammit.
I gotta tell you guys, that's a horrible Bob Arum impression. You gotta add more. No, it's true. You gotta add more like Hebrew. You gotta. It's gotta
be. You motherfuckers. You're a Jew. One day, I'm gonna respect the Bob Father
because you are a Jew.
Oh, wait a minute. Who's that? Is that Kevin on the line?
Whoa.
All right, listen.
I didn't say that. Whoa.
I don't know who said that. I don't know who's playing those ones. I think it was Kevin. All right, listen, fellas. Pete, okay, hold on. Pete, so I assume you didn't like the fight, the night of boxing. It was a little bit anticlimactic. What do you think, Errol Spence Crawford?
Well, first of all, let me back up to the night, right? Anticlimactic, yeah. Unfortunate because it was two fights that kind of... we sat for two... The fight card started at 10 o'clock. It ended at 12:15. In 2.5 hours, we watched two rounders. What the fuck's going on here? So, listen, the commentators didn't do the card any favors because, they're vamping for the Crawford fight, and they got no fights from earlier in the day to play because there's no live gate there. So they had no, undercards that were not televised to put in here. So we had to listen to these guys watch the Zapruder film for fucking 2 hours. About, was it a headbutt? What? I don't see it. I don't see nothing. Obviously, man.
Back into the left.
After all that, they got it wrong. Yeah, so I don't know what the fuck. Now, I feel bad for both. It's no decision. It is what it is. Now, on the Brook fight, I don't know what happened to Kell Brook from the very get-go. I don't know why Crawford came out orthodox. He never does anything in the orthodox stance.
Listen to the Bob Father.
He faints. And then, he switched southpaw. Kell Brook did nothing but give him foot control. He gave it to Crawford. He kept stepping to Kell Brook's right. And he ran into a jab or a check hook. I will say this. Now, he ran into that check hook, and when he got on the ropes there, the knockdown that the rope stopped him, I don't know if you guys saw, but right before Tony Weeks was able to break them, Crawford just with a left hook caught Brook right on the fucking button. He fucking stroked him with a left hook.
All right.
I don't think Weeks even saw it, but
I gotta stop you right there, Pete. Your microphone is creating some weird crackling. It's like you're next to a fire roasting marshmallows or something. Finish roasting. Jump out and jump back in, or use a different type of I don't know what microphone you're using or what earbuds, but try to switch them up or something because that crackling.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
Would you stop trying to talk like fucking Bob Arum?
Oh, sorry. I apologize.
Hey, listen, fellas, real quick before we get Pete back here, let's get to another phone call here. 510. Hold on. 510. You're on the air. The fuck was that? 510. You're on the air.
All right, thanks, man. Hey, I like the show. It's funny. I was watching the first two rounds, and it seems like Kell Brooks is getting his jabs in, and it seems like the defense of Crawford wasn't resisting that jab. It's just that obviously got caught with his power. But you get someone like Spence in there who can handle that power, and I don't know if he can, but if he can handle that power and get his jab, it looked like I saw some weakness in Crawford. I'm a Crawford fan, but he was getting hit with some jabs early in the fight.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
Remember, caller, that he was also getting out-jabbed a little bit against Kavaliauskas, and then he put it on Kavaliauskas, and Kavaliauskas wilted. But I get, like you said, you get the feeling that Spence is actually going to be able to resist that, right?
Yes. Yes, he is.
I don't know And then I was going to ask you guys what you guys thought about that. Can he handle that power? I never really.
Can I answer?
I just don't know about that.
Can I answer that?
Yeah, go ahead.
That's exactly why I think Spence beats him, because I've seen Crawford get caught with jabs when he's on the outside. Mm-hmm. So Crawford, when you start doing that to him, he likes to switch his stance. Okay, you can't switch your stance against a natural southpaw in Errol Spence, right? You're just going to make the fight difficult. He's still going to probably get the best out of you because he's more natural in that stance. And so, yeah, what's Crawford going to do? Go on the inside and get caught with that fucking hook that he dropped Sean Porter with? No, he's not going to do that. He's got to do something else.
Right.
He's going to have to do something else. I'm not saying he can't. Don't get me wrong, Caller. I'm not saying he can't. But trust me, man. Errol Spence, Danny Garcia, those guys they're not today's Kell Brook. Kell Brook came in there pretty weak, and like you said, man, he had some success with that jab in the first 2 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Caller.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's. It seemed like he. It felt like, wow. I mean, I haven't seen Crawford get hit with the jab like that before. I said, man, it looks like he might be in a little trouble here. But of course, he knocked him out. But that's how the story goes.
Well, Caller, that's why Errol Spence. The big question going in is, how's he gonna look? Are his new teeth gonna be able to stand out, or is he gonna look like a toothless gum-toting motherfucker? Do you think that Danny Garcia? Do you think that Danny Garcia is actually a good litmus test, considering that Garcia can crack?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's gonna be a good fight to watch, for sure. But it's gonna be interesting.
And he's strong.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for the chime in, man. I appreciate the call, man.
Well, thank you for calling in, man. Take it easy. Have a good night. All right.
No, those holes that he was like, I saw it too. Did you see that he also he gave like a little cut on Crawford's eyelid?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a headbutt. That's a bad spot. That's not a good spot to start building up scar tissue.
Yeah,
because it's right on the eyelid. That's the worst because it's gonna drip into your eye. But Crawford, he's the worst type of person. I always hated sparring or fighting guys who fucking spend the first 6 minutes making you feel good about yourself.
Yeah,
because they don't show you nothing. No, you know what I mean. They don't show you nothing. You're like, I got this kid. He's letting me hit him with jabs, and then they figure out. They figure your timing. They figure what you're going to do first. He feeds him a couple of feints to see his reaction. And you by like the halfway through the first round, he realized every time feint, like Brook would kind of pop his left hand up. So he started jumping around it with his jab. And once he went to southpaw, that's when he knew he was going to start turning it on.
Well, recognize.
Yeah, no.
Remember that clip I showed you? I think I showed it to you, right? Recognize the clips of him sparring Crawford. That is.
Oh yeah, Crawford. Yeah.
When he was sparring a middleweight. He was sparring some Dominican middleweight. I think it was Dominican. This middleweight was breaking his guard, and Crawford was just walking him down, hands up. And you're thinking, man, he's getting his head snapped back in there. And all of a sudden, boom, he just turns it up, and he starts, schooling. Well, he didn't even really turn it up 100%, and he was having a lot of success. So yeah, man, Jimmy, you're absolutely right. This fucking Crawford guy, he makes you think you're having success, that you're actually going to be able to outbox him, and then all of a sudden, whacks you with those orangutan arms of his.
Everything comes up. His speed comes up. His power punches come up. Everything, he turns it up. He's not throwing at anything. Everything in the beginning is to try to figure out his timing. You can see him. He's going to get his eyes peeled. He's like, and if you look at that dude's eyes, man, I'm in the street camp. I'm telling you right now, he's a fucking, I'll tell you right now, if you just see him in a bar, he's the dude. You see in his eyes, he's going to fight. That kid is a fighter. He's a dog.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You know what I mean? Yeah, whereas like, and even his mother, I guess his mother had a reputation as a badass. Whereas Spencer is a fucking middle-class suburban kid who was an athlete who went into boxing. I personally, I mean, when he didn't stop the fucking chubby 140-pounder, I kind of think Spencer's power is overrated. I do. I haven't seen him stop.
I think, you know what? If you look at it, Jimmy, you know something, Jimmy, if you look at it, they both have they both have a performance where we looked at it and said, maybe these guys are not all that. Like for Crawford, it was Posto, and for Spence, it was Mikey Garcia. Even though he won every round, you just got the feeling like, wait a second, you should be knocking this dude out. But
he was afraid to get in. Why wouldn't he just get in there and fucking go toe to toe?
But then
Garcia wasn't running from him. Garcia was offering it to him.
And then the crazy thing is, he gets in there and he gets into a dogfight with fucking Sean Porter, and next thing you know, he's showing you good shit that he could. I mean, he could pop Sean Porter.
Let me pose this question to you, dude. When's the last time you saw Sean Porter fucking knock somebody out or hit somebody with one shot?
No, I get what you.
But you know what I'm saying, dude. I'm just
I get what
of course,
you're saying,
dude, that's why I'm posing it. Yeah, I don't think Sean Porter's a big hitter.
It just shows you that these guys from those performances, like the Post-Store performance, Terence Crawford is better than that. The Mikey Garcia performance, Earl Spence is better than that. They're better than what they showed that day.
But you know what, man? Jimmy said that you look into Crawford's eyes, he's a dog, and you look into Spence's eyes, that motherfucker likes to fight too. Like I've seen him when he gets hit and he smiles. It's not the type of smile that, oh, I'm hurt, let me show you the other guy that I was. No, it's a smile of, all right, we're banging, let's go, let's get to it. Speaking of getting to it, real quick, let's go to another phone call here real quick. Okay, hold on a second. 484, you're on the air. 484.
Is Mike any better?
Yeah, a little bit.
Pete.
Hello.
484, you're on the air.
Spit some knowledge.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. 484. What's on your mind?
Oh, hey, what's up, guys? I have something to say about Crawford getting hit with those jabs, but first I want to ask the panel a question. If all fighters today, if they were all the same weight, imagine if all humans were created equal and they were all the same weight. Right now, if they had a tournament, who do you think would win the tournament? Like every fighter, all the way from Chocolatito all the way up to Tyson.
Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao beats. If everybody was the same height, even at 42 years old, everybody was the same weight, Manny Pacquiao still beats everybody.
That's impossible to really say, man, because
no, but I
can't
get what
really.
he's saying. I get what he's saying. Like,
yeah, let's.
This is why I don't get it. After you're finished, well, go ahead. Yeah, I'll tell you why. But go ahead.
But wait. Who's going then? Recognize her.
Impossible.
Let me just say this, okay? Because Chocolatito, he wouldn't be the same fighting at welterweight or heavyweight because you can't have a heavyweight like Chocolatito throw the same amount of punches. It wouldn't be impossible. That wouldn't be fair to Chocolatito or to the other fighters. Imagine having a Chocolatito throwing fucking power punches, Jose.
1,000 punches.
What if
yeah, he would ice everybody. Then I would have to say to the smaller guys.
What if
the smaller guys would feel better?
Hold on. Go ahead, caller.
What if everybody was Chocolatito size instead of
Well, let's be. If we could bring everybody down the middle to like welterweight or middleweight, that'd be like more fair.
Fourth grade.
To welterweight, because then you have guys sacrificing the power to come down and the little guys going up and losing the speed. You see what I'm saying?
Caller,
fourth grade question. Chocolatito size.
This is.
No, come on, stop that shit.
Caller, this.
Get to,
yeah. Go ahead.
I just want to. Okay, the point of my question is, that's what the pound for pound list was meant to be. It was meant to be if everyone was the same size, who would come out on top. It wasn't meant to.
In theory, yeah, that's what it's supposed to mean.
People's resume. It's who's the best fighter right now, pound for pound at this moment, not a year ago or 2 years ago. Because if we're going to judge resume, then Manny Pacquiao's number one. But if like there was a tournament right now and everybody was the same exact shape and size, who's got the best skill to win right now? That's pound for pound.
Who's your pound for pound? That's what you're asking?
Who's got the best
I got you. Who's your pound for pound?
Yeah, caller, I'm interested in what you have to say. Who's your pound for pound best?
For me, it would either have to be Inoue because of his power at his size and his speed, or it would have to be Terence Crawford after what I saw today. If they were all the same size, I would have to say either Terence Crawford or Inoue.
Fantastic. I'm glad we got that cleared up, man.
You'll get a lot of people that agree with you on that. That's for sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But people are very sold on Inoue.
I mean, they're not. It's not like it's far off anyway. If it wasn't true, because those guys, they're up there. They're the best pound for pound fighters right now.
Yeah. Oh, I think also Canelo would have something to say about that. But anyway, listen, caller.
Canelo too. With all the steroids,
high pitched voice.
Que chingue su madre. All right, caller. Listen, we got to move on, man. Thank you for your call. It was a little bit too metaphysical for this hour of the night, but it was still a good call, man. Thank you for calling in, man.
You're the greatest.
All right.
Fucking told me a riddle.
Take it easy, man. All right.
All
right, hold on a second. Before, let's get to another call here. 610. You're on the air. 610.
Yo, what's up, guys? Hell of a fight.
Hold on.
Jackson.
Is this Jackson?
This is Jackson.
Yeah, what's up, guys?
What's up, man? What's on your mind, man?
Faded.
Oh man, I'm just a little tired. I wanted a better fight, man. Because all right, Crawford. To me, I'm gonna give you the eye test. He looked extremely fast and explosive, but against a Brook that wasn't really bringing anything. But I really have never seen Crawford. Did you see a couple of those body shots he landed? That was explosive punches, and I haven't seen him look that way.
Yeah, man. I mean, Crawford, he's always been a bit of a whippersnapper in there with those shots. Very. No, there he is. I mean, he's whipping shots, man. I mean, this guy is
more than a whippersnapper.
Oh, come on now. I don't know what to do with you.
He could have done that in the first round, though, don't you think? I mean, I understand what Jimmy's saying, right? He came out orthodox. He wasn't particularly faint. I mean, I guess he got the timing right, so then you could switch southpaw like maybe after the first round and handle that. Don't you think? I mean, I don't quite understand.
The way I see him is like Crawford is a master sniper. He kind of like it's kind of like how Mayweather used to do it, but with power. He just like kind of he feints. He hits you with a couple body shots. Switches to southpaw. It's like but then he just like ambushes you and just like, and he can crack.
He got strong hands, Jackson.
I knew
he's got strong hands.
Punch, man.
I mean, look at this. Look at this. Since 2016, December, John Molina stopped him. Felix Diaz stopped him. Indongo stopped him. Horn stopped him. Benavides stopped him. Amir Khan stopped him. Kavaluska, well, Amir Khan but Kavaluska stopped him. Now Kell Brook. I mean, that's about 8 fights in a row, man. I mean, people can't stand the heat in there, man.
He's
way above those guys now.
He hits harder now because back when he was in the lower weights, he was like a Somali pirate, real skinny. Now he's got the long arms, like an orangutan, but he's filled out, right? He's not that wiry anymore. He got the long arms like a crane. Gets a lot of leverage and torque on his shots.
Like a praying mantis. He's like a praying mantis in there.
Yeah, but with size, now he's like a mini Deontay Wilder, right? Long ass arm, 72-inch reach.
That's right.
Yeah, puts a lot of power behind his shots.
Praying mantis, but his opponents got no prayer against him, man. I mean, this
guy. I'm gonna say it one more time, BDA. He's a Thomas Hearns. Looks like him, and his body's not that far apart with the long arms.
All right, now you gotta take it easy there.
Lobito!
Yeah.
I think you're going a little too far. But Jackson.
No, but he does kind of remind me of Tommy Hearns in a way. I mean, they don't fight really alike, but they have that mean streak. Like they got that
resume.
They give you the mean mug.
And he's stopping guys. Look at the list I showed. He's been stopping 7 guys in a row now since 2016. So yeah, man. I mean, I think Gonzalo has a point. He's not that far off from a Tommy Hearns, definitely, man.
We just gotta give him. We gotta give him the microphone and haircut. Like Salvador Sanchez, like those old school fighters back in the day. Like
Jerry curls. Tommy Hearns used to have Jerry curls.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, Jerry curls. Like the Super Friday, the Pinky, the one these
Yeah, so good.
Yeah. Movie Friday.
He got knocked out by Marvin Hagler. He knocked the Jerry curl juice out of him.
Yeah, like on the couch.
Hey, like that guy from the movie Friday, right? That's selling the CDs the Friday after next with Ice Cube. With the Soul Glow, the pink suit, what's his name? Anyways.
Who?
But
what the fuck was that? Stop the conversation.
If you look at the other welterweight champions, like when Danny Garcia and Thurman held their belts at the same time, when you added up their fights, I know they both had one of the worst welterweight championship reigns with no knockouts. I think one time went like he didn't stop anybody.
Oh yeah.
Who's that, Jimmy?
The fewest, but look, they got some fight. At least they got some fights between them. And I know it's not Crawford's fault. I'm not just trying to sit here and bitch over something that he hadn't had control over. But man, Tommy Hearns fought everybody and took some losses and knocked some people out too. But unfortunately, man, you can't get this guy in a ring with somebody with a chin. What the fuck's going on here?
Pete, you always ride with Uncle Bob, but I get the feeling that you're not on board the Crawford train right now.
It's not that I always ride with Uncle Bob. I understand his point. He's getting a little too old to be on the microphone.
That's
but
the end of that shit for me.
He's trying to promote a fighter, but unfortunately, I just can't get too. I don't know. Maybe it's just the commentators all night and we're putting them in there with Hearns. It's a little much, bro.
They're terrible. Those commentators.
Yeah, I recognize. Speak on that, man.
No, they're just terrible. I mean, like they're acting like Kell Brook is this world beater. I mean, he used to be really good at welterweight. There's a guy who's had both his fucking cheekbones broken. He has to drain down, he has to come down to 147, a weight class he hasn't been in for like maybe, 3 or 4 years. He was drained, bro. Like, look.
Yeah, that's true.
You give Terence Crawford credit for doing his job, which is you put him in a situation with a guy who's compromised. Not that you compromised him, but you did basically. You said we could fight, but we got to fight at 147. He took it, right? He took the fight, and basically he was look, man. There's a reason why he got punched with a little check hook, in the same spot where he had his orbital bone broken, and he's all over the place.
It had to have something to do with it, man. It had to have something to do with it.
Dude, can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
kind of low, but yeah.
Did I hear Tommy Hearns? And
yeah.
I just tuned in. Like, I'm sorry. We're just gonna let that one go.
No, I was referring to the link. Hold
on. I'm just gonna say this. I gotta go to sleep. So let me just say this, please. Hello, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that shit. If you watch the weigh-in, immediately after the weigh-in, Terence Crawford was drinking all kinds of water. Kell Brook didn't drink any right after the weigh-in, nor during the interview. Like, the dude, they slapped the severe rehydration clause on this dude, and he was fucking useless in that ring. The first good punch he got hit with, he couldn't take it, and that's all she wrote. That wasn't no Tommy Hearns shit. That wasn't no, like, Crawford's a good fighter and all, but oh my god. Terrible fight. Complete and utter fucking scam. Brook, it was so sad to see a fighter whose career has gone so wrong, completely and utterly destroyed on the scale and then thrown in there for hype up the pound for pound number one guy in the sport. I'm sorry, guys, but like that was a very, very sad day for boxing, and enjoy the rest of the show because I'm gonna go to sleep, man. I'm wasting no more time on this shit. Take it
easy there, Precise. Thank you for dropping by and giving us. Hold on, I want to get Gonzalo's
he said what?
Clarification.
What'd you say, recognize?
I said he was quick to the point.
Yeah, he got.
He's got a point. He's right, man. It's a good thing this thing wasn't on at prime time at 8:00 at night. Imagine if this shit was on at 8:00 at night.
Well, it should have been at 8:00 though, because then we wouldn't be up right now at 1 a.m. having to talk about it.
Oh yeah, but
what's that video?
Well, I wanted to ask Gonzalo to just clarify what he meant when he said Tommy Hearns.
Well, he's got 72-inch reach. He's got a lot of leverage. Like you say, he's like not putting the same beating, but when he turns it on, he will knock you out. Now, yeah, this opponent was tailor-made. He's damaged goods, but he's not just knocking him out. He's knocking Horn. He's knocking all these guys out. He's proven to have greater power now than he did in like the lighter weights. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, the guy's got long arms, right? And he looks a little bit like him. The resemblance of the facial features. But that's all.
Little bit. Let me tell you something, man. At least on paper, though, he's got a 4th round stoppage over Kell Brook. Earl Spence had to take him into deep waters to do it. I'm interested in how certain demographics on YouTube are going to handle this, because there's a demographic that hates Crawford, and they don't want to give him credit for anything, but Crawford can go in there strutting like a rooster and say, hey, I beat this guy in 4. Jimmy, what do you think about that?
Well, if I remember correctly, wasn't Spence beating. I mean, I wasn't Brook beating Spence on all three judges cards, and one judge had him up, I think, by 3 rounds at the time of the stoppage.
Let me verify that.
When he broke the other eye bone. Like, if he was a compromised fighter tonight, it would have been from the weight. Listen, history has shown, like the call said the other night, it's so hard to, once you get muscle memory, once you fight it at like 160, very seldom do people go back down, especially that much of a jump down, 13 pounds, and are successful at it. Just it's few and far between. And I think it would, if anything, it might have been weight trained. But the eye socket, the problem, see what the thing is, having a broken eye doesn't knock you out. You can have a broken eye socket. It doesn't let you take a punch any less. It's a mental thing. Do I want to take the punishment? These guys have fought with broken eye sockets in time immemorial.
Margarito, yeah.
Yeah, that was at one time that was a given. You didn't quit for a broken eye socket. You just employ your nose.
Well, speaking about that, Jimmy, because I remember I always bring up that Mickey Ward quote when he was training guys, and he said, "Look, if anybody ever quit on me, a fighter of mine, I take him to the back room, to the dressing room, and I kick him in the balls." And I don't think he was kidding. Do you think that's too extreme, or do you agree with him a little bit?
Well, he thinks it's a disgrace to the sport. He hates guys who quit. But then again, there's two types of fighters: guys who fought because that's what they had to do to get anything in life, and then there's guys who are just great athletes, and they happen to pick up boxing. Yeah, you know what I mean. There's athletic champs, and then there's fighter champs. Guys who are true, like fighters.
It's like Inoue, he just got his orbital bone shattered as well. I mean, if he quit now, we would be saying, "Oh, fuck, that's a shame," right? He's damaged goods, but he's still got to continue his career, and he's at the top.
That's true, man. Great point. By the way, shout out to Mike P, who donated with the super chat, and he says, "Great guys, being up late, good show." Well, thank you, Mike P. Hope you're enjoying it. Don't forget, fellas, phone lines are still open, so you can call in and tell us your view. I get the feeling that call in. I get the feeling that this fight, I think we all expected Crawford to stop Brook, but I was surprised at how he did it so early on. So where does Crawford go from here? Because like I said, he thinks that his career is set. He's a Hall of Famer, which he probably will get into the Hall of Fame now with the standards that they have. But, like you guys are saying, he is a fighter at heart, and I don't think he's going to get out of this career without fighting Spence, man. But how do you guys think Spence is going to look against Garcia? Do you think he's going to look like, what are the chances that this whole car accident is not going to affect him?
I mean, how long he's been out of the ring? It'll be a year, right? At least.
Over a year. He's been out of the ring over a year. His last fight was with Sean Porter in September of 2019.
So it's going to be, fucking 14 months, 15 months?
Something like that, yeah. I mean,
it's a long time.
Look, I'm thinking, this is what I'm thinking. If they're putting him in there with Danny Garcia, who's a very good fighter, okay, he's solid. Okay, he's a strong kid. Yes, he makes a lot of mistakes, but he's a strong fucking kid. So I'm thinking that they think he's fine, right? So let's see what happens once he gets in that ring and it's live action. The guys in there is trying to knock your head off. We'll see what happens.
That's gonna be a great fight, man. It's gonna be two guys coming forward, rocking, socking robots, but not just like that. It's with technique. Just because the guys are basic, Spence is he's kind of basic as well, but they're very good. They're very, very good fighters. I mean, not just rock 'em, sock 'em. Yes, trading punches with technique and little nuances, things that are not very clear to the eye, but since they're professionals, they know what they're doing, man. They're very, very good fighters.
Hey, Gonzalo, let me ask you this, man, because Spence does have to get through Garcia first. Now, Jimmy mentioned that Garcia is a slow, plodding fighter. I didn't see him too slow against Thurman and Peterson, but I will say when I saw the Granados fight, he looked like a little slower. What do you think that's because he was focusing on power since he had a guy that wasn't that mobile, or do you think Garcia is slowing down?
He's adding a lot of muscle. He's working with weights, not too heavy of a weights, but in the lighter weights he was more mobile. But now he's thicker in girth, and that just creates what you guys know. What you talk about it, right? The lactic acid. You have to load up on your punches a little more to cock the hammer on your shot. It's things like that.
Hey, do you think he's building muscle? You said he's working with weights. Are you talking about his wife? Because she's a pretty big woman, so I don't know if you.
I seen him doing some rows. What do you call those, Jimmy? When you pull the dumbbell, you put your knee on the bench, then you roll backwards as you're leaning down with your palm facing the floor.
When you do
basically
dumbbell rows, are you talking about
like
doing
that.
rows? Yeah,
like rows like that.
Like you're starting a lawnmower, but you're leaning on the bench with your knee and you're pulling back.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's for thickening your lower. That's for thickening your lumbar and the middle of your back. That's a good exercise.
That's right.
Boxing.
I like
throwing with a lot of power, but with less speed. Slowing down not necessarily because he's past his prime or anything. He's thicker.
A lot of people, I'll tell you right now, do that wrong. They go straight up and down from the floor. What you want to do when you're doing that exercise or any exercise, you want to go to extension as you go to the floor. Point it outwards. Stretch your lat. Just a heads up to everybody if you're doing that exercise. Anyways.
Interesting, man. Very interesting. But by the way, we've got this fight coming up, and Garcia does look like he's going to be a challenge. But somebody's Tic Tac guy is spamming the chat, which I hate. Please don't spam the chat, my man. But he says, "Bro, change the topic. Can versus Brook. Who do you think wins?" Yes. Does anybody here want to see that fight now, man?
I mean, it's probably more interesting now. Yeah,
that would be a bar burner. I'll tell you that much.
You'd have to have instead of a belt, I'll have a glass trophy of a jaw, glass jaw.
This is what I see happening.
Spence.
This is what I see happening. Khan is going to say, no, you got to come down to 147. And Brook's going to be like, no, let's fight like at 150.
Yeah, man, they're going to...
154, 152,
yeah. I think those guys... Yeah, go ahead, Gonzalo.
I was going to be like Cepeda Baranchik with 8 knockdowns, maybe more like 10, but in the end, Brook wins.
Yeah, I think I would still give
you know how much money they would have made? You know how much money they would have made 4 or 5 years ago in England when they were both fucking still had names? My God, they could have put 90,000 people in fucking
Khan was too pussy to fight him.
Yeah, Khan wouldn't take it, but that was, I mean, when they were both still, that would have been huge. What a miss.
I know Recognize is just being, I know you're just, half joking about Khan being a bitch, but I mean, because the guys, neither of those guys are bitches, man. I mean, Brook fought Golovkin, Khan fought Canelo. These guys have balls, man. But it's just like when it came to, you know what I think happened? I think they were wife swapping. They're a bunch of swappers, or what do they call them? Swingers. I think they swung together because they're both degenerate scumbags. And I think something happened that one of them fucked better than the other or something, and so that always stuck in somebody's craw, and that's why they never made the fight. Because what else could it be, man?
Probably.
It was a lover's
quarrel. They definitely
quarrel.
hate each other.
It was a lover's quarrel. That's what you're trying to say.
I think it had a lot to do with it. I think Khan hated him so much he would just like, I'll go get knocked out by Canelo.
Khan was upset that Brook gave his wife some chocolate brownies.
Oh, or maybe he ate her out, or she shits chocolate brownies, if you know what I mean. But listen,
brownies.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing, though. Is this gonna be another case like Junior Witter, Ricky Hatton? Never happened and should have happened.
Probably.
You talking about Khan? You talking about Khan and Brook?
That's
you talking
right.
about Khan and Brook?
Yeah, that would never happen.
Hey, listen. Yeah. You know what? If they have a 2-rounder like this, where they got a long pause in between before the main event, they should like replay Inui's fight from last week or 2 weeks ago. Have something to put on because people might not have caught that fight. You know what I mean? They might have been watching the Tank fight or there's a lot going on. You know what I mean? Like if you want to show, I don't know.
Man. They need to stop.
26 minutes they took to watch that replay. 26 minutes. It's a 3-minute round. How fuck did it take 26 minutes? You know what I mean? Like
he came out for the bell in the second round, and his eye was shut solid. So we got 1 round to look at. Of course, he didn't headbutt him with his fucking eyeball.
No, it was a headbutt isn't going to look like when you have a swell like that, both sides up and bottom. That's a poke in the eye. A headbutt's going to like fucking get an egg. Exactly. A headbutt's going to give you an egg with a cut.
From the beginning,
I don't need to hear Tim Bradley and Andre Ward go punch by punch and go, nope, didn't see it, nope.
They were never going to give it to Maloney, man. Even from the beginning, they knew they weren't going to. They just had to play it out like they were. 26 minutes.
Well, for time and for...
I don't know. Yeah, man. Listen, They need to
They're
stop
going to
holding
make the
this.
paper tomorrow in Vegas. Hispanic man robs white man in Vegas.
Hey, by the way,
Aussie, Australian from down under. Nah.
Shout out to Mike P for his contribution. He says, guys have time to prepare for a fight, but the weight classes make no sense. How could you look a certain way and still be that same size? Guys have time to prepare for a fight, but weight classes make no sense. How could you look a certain way and still be in that same? I think that sounds like a riddle or something. Riddle me this.
Yeah, I'm confused. I don't have the.
Yeah, he's saying like these guys look the same size no matter what weight class, but I saw Brook smaller. Like,
you know what Precise said makes sense, man. If there was some kind of rehydration clause that was contracted, but not, they just didn't disclose it. Some of these rehydration clauses we hear about just kind of slip out just by chance, like the Canelo.
You guys are so they're just, I don't know, man. I think that's just so soft, man.
The question is this though, so he's right. So Brook looked good, during training camp. He like everything's on point. Yesterday he weighed in at 46.4. So it wasn't like he was just ducking under 147. He was 46.4 yesterday, right? So he's under 46 and a half. Now
you talking about Brook?
I'm talking about 46.4.
No, I thought he was 147 on the dot.
Terence Crawford.
Yeah. Brook was on the dot, man.
Was he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Brook couldn't go any under that. If he would have just dropped dead.
Yeah, man.
Well, I guess the point is that if there's a rehydration clause, like for instance in the Canelo Jacobs fight, it kind of like slipped out that there was a rehydration clause in there, contracted, not IBF.
When Kell Brook was talking, they asked him both fighters questions. He looked tired, bro. Like he's like, man, I just like barely made it to 147.
Hey, by the way, man.
Well, I guess my point then is that it just sucks to see Crawford carrying these guys. I watched him carry Khan for 6 fucking rounds. He stunned him. He had him on Queer Street in the first round by accident, and he carried him for 6 rounds just so he didn't just blast him out of there. And for the first 2 rounds of the fight tonight, you're talking about having it scored for Brook for rounds 1 and 2. I hate to keep jumping back, but I didn't get on with when you guys started, but it's like, well. Yeah, the first 2 rounds he comes out orthodox. He didn't really throw a meaningful punch, and when he did get touched, he went right back to southpaw. So it's like he could have done that halfway through round 1. You know what I mean?
He's a very confident fighter. Right into it. He's a very confident fighter. Like he seems to think that he can just stand in there, take a couple of shots, see what you get, and then boom, he just takes you out. By the way, Jay Blue speaking, because you guys were speaking about weight. Jay Blue's radio in the chat says Tim Bradley is starting to look like James Toney. What the fuck? Yeah, man, this guy. It's interesting to note how a guy that was a fitness freak like him can start to let himself go like this. I mean, it's bizarre, man. But then again, if you
his wife's Mexican, he's probably eating a lot of tortillas.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, I think it's his wife.
They call him Gordito.
Gordito, Gordito, yeah, that's a Puerto Rican. So Gordito. By the way, Mike P in the chat.
Oye, Gordito.
Mike P in the chat says, and anyone then I was wrestling. My brother was a wrestler, and I know about sizes and muscle appearance. There's no way these fighters are the same size. All right, shout out to Mike P. Although I didn't like the way he talked about that. Like, I know about sizes and muscle appearance. Like, all right, keep that to yourself there, Mike P. Nobody needs to know about your proclivities. What's that? Oh, you keep saying pause, man. What's the matter with you? Now, what else was I going to say about this? Oh, yeah. Okay, so fucking Crawford, look, he got the win. He makes it look easy most of the time. It's like, no matter what you do to the guy, he pulls out the win.
Who's breathing into the microphone?
Somebody's really breathing in, bro.
Yeah, it's Pete, man. Pete, what you doing, man?
You blaming it on me?
It wasn't Gonzalo.
Was that me or what?
No, I'm on mute. I'm screaming to Lobito. But I'm on mute.
Yeah, I know.
I recognize he was doing it on purpose.
No.
I thought you were busting balls.
Y'all ready for this? We just getting started, honey.
That's right. We're just getting started. Listen,
that was the Golden State Killer, right? Jimmy, the one that used to breathe into the mic.
I was doing some bent over rows. I was doing some bent over some dumbbell rows real quick.
Yeah, I bet, man. I bet. Hey, listen, let's go to the phone real quick. We got another phone call. 1111. You're on the air. 1111.
What the fuck is that?
I don't know. I think it's some software not to trace the call. I think it's a software not to trace the call. Yeah, 1111. You're on the air. Can you hear me?
Yeah, how's it going?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, you're sounding pretty low. Go ahead. What's on your mind?
I can't hear him.
I can't.
I can't hear him either, man. Anyway. All right. Call back 1111. Call back again, man. Because
they call and climb a ladder and talking to the phone. I can't hear you.
All right, listen. Enough of this malarkey, man. We got to get down to business here. So it's almost nearing the end of the year. This is one of the final big fights of the year. Burchell's out with COVID. Povetkin versus White is going to be fucking pushed over to 2021. What do we got now? We got Spence Garcia. We got Campbell versus, what's his name? Garcia. It's still, they're saying they're still trying to salvage it for this year. And we might get Callum Smith versus Canelo. Although a lot of people feel that Callum Smith, if he goes to Texas or whatever to fight, it's not going to be optimal because he has to get acclimated to the change of time zone and all that. So what do you guys think about 2020 so far? I mean, are you looking forward to anything?
Isn't Virgil Ortiz supposed to be fighting in the next couple of months before the end of the year? Did I read that right?
No. I don't think he's fighting. No. Well, I think Shakur, they kept talking about Shakur Stevenson against some guy named Khan.
Shakur Stevenson, yeah.
But
that's the kid I'm really hype on the fucking welterweight. I think he's the one who's going to surprise a lot of people. I think he's legit.
Shakur Stevenson.
Virgil Ortiz. Yeah.
Oh, Virgil Ortiz. Yeah. I thought he was talking Shakur Stevenson. What?
No, Virgil Ortiz. I'm really big on him in the welterweights. If he can accept the way he pitches, man, I'll tell you, he's the young fucking lion. Like Gonzalo said earlier, you see the difference with Teofimo Lopez? You get a young kid, hungry. Yeah, Brook, like I said, again, he can say it wasn't a money checkout. He didn't seem like, was there any complaining when that ref waved off the fight? He wasn't, he wasn't egging him, crawling to get back in. No, let me go. I can go.
Did you hear it wasn't, what's the guy that works with, Tim Bradley and Andre Ward? What's his name again?
Tessitore.
Joe Tessitore.
Yeah, Joe Tessitore. Did you hear him say, like, he was brutal towards Kell Brook in the end? Kell Brook, take your $2 million and go back to England.
Yeah, what was that about? Like, was he?
I think he felt the same thing. I think he didn't show much.
But you know what's funny? He didn't really have a complaint up until that point right there. He just, like, if he would have been like, I think he checked out or whatever. He didn't say any of that. He's just like, Terence Crawford's power is too much and this and that. And then Kell Brook, take your $2 million and get out of town. Go back to
that sucks. He said it himself, right? He said it himself that he was fighting scared because that was like a motivator. I think you mentioned that, recognized. But, he didn't fight with that fire, with that pizzazz. He did, like, when GGG touched him up, he had that amazing fourth round. He didn't display that type of fire at all.
Because he was still fresh. Remember, he never been at that point. He had never had his face broken. He's never tasted defeat. So he of course, when you teach somebody how to lose, in other words, I take your will away, no matter how much fire you bring. Yeah, that does something to you, man.
And that was a disgraceful performance.
And by the way, is Joe Tessitore Italian? It's got to be, right? Tessitore.
Probably.
Yeah.
You goddamn guys really make me laugh.
I'm surprised he stayed with the boxing because last year he got hired for he does Monday Night Football now.
Oh, that's right. That's a big gig, man.
Big gig, like $6 million a year.
Good for him, man. Good for him. I'm glad.
Almost sounds like testicles, not Tessitore testicles.
No, okay, come on.
Come on, man.
Was that necessary, man? Is that necessary? Hey, you know what I'd say to Tessitore? Take those 10 mil and get the fuck out of the country. No, I'm kidding. Listen,
I'll take him over fucking Mauro Ronaldo any day.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. By the way, we got 929 on the air. 929, you're on the air.
New York.
Hey, what's up, BDA?
How you doing, man?
Yo.
You sound
virtuoso.
Yeah, it's me. After watching that fight, I mean, yeah, Terence Crawford. I think it's a foregone conclusion that he was going to win this one. I mean, beating the best British welterweight, according to Tim Bradley, even though he hasn't been in welterweight since 2017 when he lost to Earl Spence.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it just goes to show that I wasn't intrigued with this fight. I wasn't excited for this one.
You sound like you're full of energy, man.
Huh?
You sound like you're full of energy.
Yeah, man. It's 2 in the morning.
I don't want to hear excuses. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, but it's like had it been a super welterweight, I would have been more intrigued about it. I would have given more of a chance to Kell Brook, but he's done. He's a shot fighter to me.
You know what, man?
You drop down and where your chin goes.
Virtuoso, the guy he was like, I showed a couple of clips on Wednesday before the stream got cut short, but that last meaningful fight he had against Sarafa, he was getting tagged a lot with jabs, flush jabs, counter right hands. So going into this fight, man, at 147, depleted, running in against a guy who's got orangutan arms and can crack it was just gonna end in a stoppage either way. I think most people call it, man. But now going forward, though,
yeah.
I get the feeling you weren't impressed with Crawford, but is he impressive enough against
listen.
I'm listening.
I give him credit because, listen, they underrate his power, man. That dude, he's had a lot of stoppages at 147. He's doing what he's supposed to do.
That's right.
Because if he doesn't, people are going to second guess him and they're going to say, oh, this guy's overrated. He really doesn't want it. That's why, he's staying on the other side of the street, quote unquote. But yeah, I just got to say this, man. If this is his last fight with Top Rank, best of luck with him, on PBC. I'm just afraid that if he goes sides without Heyman, they're just gonna keep him there like the hood ornament, just there for decoration. I believe if he wants to get a fight with Spence, man, I think he's got to go after Dennis Lucas, and get 2 belts. That way they can really set up a huge mega fight, be equal.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll see, man. I mean, look, I'm hoping he fights one of the best, and whether he gets away from Bob Arum or whether he stays with him, hopefully they can match him up with somebody that's going to be able to stand the heat. Listen, we're going to move on, Virtuoso, but anything else you want to say before we move on?
No, man, you guys have a good night, man.
You too, man. Take it easy.
Peace, Virtuoso.
I think he was falling asleep, man. Let's go to...
Yeah, I was falling asleep too.
Oh, come on, man. 812, you're on the air. 812, you're on the air.
Yeah. Hey, I'm from
812.
Indiana, and we're known as a wrestling state. I don't know if you guys have heard about that, but anyways.
Oklahoma?
So,
you said?
Indiana, he said. Indiana.
Do you hear me?
Oh,
yeah, we can hear you, man. I thought Indiana was potatoes, by the way.
Omaha.
Color
Omaha.
is Omaha.
Okay,
no. Is Indiana known for potatoes, or which one is it? The potato state?
Iowa.
Idaho.
Hey,
Idaho.
Hey, can we let the caller respond? I want to hear which potato state he lives in. Do you live in a potato state? Yes or no?
I live in the United States. Yes.
Ah, jeez. All right, go ahead. Forget about the potatoes. Okay? So what's your point about wrestling? Go ahead.
Okay, so I was wrestling this fat black chick last night. And dude, this bitch beat my ass. Let me tell you. This bitch beat my ass, dude. She was huffing and puffing, dude. Fucking, oh my, gorilla face, dude. She was drilling all over me.
That's a huge bitch!
Oh my god. I shot in for a single leg. Takedown. She fucking reversed my ass.
Oh.
Pinned my ass within fucking 30 seconds.
Huh?
And
she took your ass, right?
She's out of my weight class.
Did she take your ass
out there in Nebraska?
Hey, man, I hope you filmed all of this, man, and put it on Pornhub.
It's not. No. It's not. No porn.
Oh, come on. You're telling me
Stop
didn't
lying,
end.
man.
Yeah,
You know
you're
there was a little
telling me.
jungle fever. You know there was a little jungle fever going on.
Yeah, come
Stop.
on. You're telling me it didn't end up with your face in between her fat tits? Come on, man.
Yeah, dude. Actually, you got me.
I not do it.
But hey, where are you guys from?
Potato State. I'm
from the United States. I'm from the United States.
Hey,
all right.
Why don't you end this podcast and play some Warzone with us?
Some what?
Some Call of
You're
Duty.
creepy. Bye.
I can't hear the caller, man. What the fuck?
He said, why don't we end the show and play some Warzone?
I don't know what Warzone is. Caller, you gotta understand. I'm a 61-year-old man. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, man.
Yeah.
Damn, you're old as dirt, man.
I'm as old as Moses. I'm as old as Moses, but I'm full of wisdom.
No, you're not, man. You're as wise as Moses.
Snosis. Hey, well, listen, caller, we got other calls, man. Thank you for calling in, and we'll catch you in the next one. All right, man?
All right,
yeah, you're creepy. Bye.
I love you.
Yeah, you love black chicks too. Fat black chicks. All right, let's go to 484. You're on the air. 484. What's on your mind?
What's up, guys?
How you doing, man? What's on your mind?
Hey, what's up? I think me and the last caller, we know the same chicks, but yeah. Listen, I want to talk about Terence Crawford. He was losing the first 2 rounds, right?
Right.
Everybody agrees that he was getting pieced up by that jab, and then he switched to southpaw, and he did it for a reason, because he wanted to beat Brooks's jab with his right hand jab, and that's exactly what he did. He hurt Brook with that right hand jab, and
that's right.
That shows you what kind of power he has, because he doesn't have any leverage right there, because that hand is already in front of him. So it's pretty much just an arm punch. He's just extending it to hit him, and he stepped into it. But
Gonzalo said that. Gonzalo said that. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's a short punch, and it's already although it's extended, it's a short punch because the hand is already out there. Go ahead.
Yep.
So you got to give him credit. Then you got to give him credit for adapting.
No, I
definitely give him plan in the third round.
I definitely give him credit because the guy got skills, man. Like Crawford definitely does have skills. The fact that he can switch up and be effective, it tells you that he's a very good boxer.
Yeah, and think about it. He's got more options than most boxers. He's got 4 options. He can box, or he can brawl from the orthodox stance, and he can box, or he can brawl from the southpaw stance.
It's interesting though. It's interesting though that
the options that
yeah, he on the inside he can rake guys with some good uppercuts, but he's not really an inside, like he's not a chest to chest type guy, and I think that has something to do with his unusually long arms. I mean, I know we keep harping about his freakish arms, but it's true, man. I mean, that guy does present some versatility because he can come forward and keep the range with his long arms, or he can make you come to him and counter you with those long arms. I mean, so he's got the best of both worlds in a sense.
Tito Trinidad, a natural lefty, used to fight on the orthodox stance, and he had long arms, and so his strong hand was his lead. It was his lead hand, and he was able to catch dudes with big shots with his lead right. His lead left, because he's a natural lefty.
Is that what Crawford is? Is he a converted is he a southpaw that's converted?
Yeah, because because when I would box, that's what I was trained to fight southpaw, but my natural power hand was my right hand. That was my natural. I could punch hard with my left, but I get more of an effect with my right hand. So what he wants to do is keep it out. He wants to keep it in the front. He uses it as an option. You see, he's different. He uses it as an option. He can fight orthodox and then switch lefty when things are not working out for him in the orthodox stance.
Right. So, caller, you seem to be one of the few people that's called in and been giving Crawford credit. Most people are saying, Brook was shot, he was finished. what do you think his chances are against Errol Spence if Errol Spence is at 100%?
Well, yeah. Okay. First, Brook. Yeah, he was. Terence Crawford was the favorite. Okay, but he did better than what the bookies thought that he was going to do. He still did better than what they thought he was going to do, and the bookies are usually right. So if it was a 50-50 fight and he did better than what the bookies were expecting him to do, he still would have won. And against Spence, I think that's a good fight. That's what we need to see next. We need to see that one. And I think that's 50-50.
50-50. All right. Yeah, that's interesting, man. That's interesting. And,
I think it's, yeah.
You know what I want to see, man? I want to see how Spence does. Like, if he gets inside on Crawford, like I said, Spence is, for a guy that's long himself, he can actually whack some short shots on the inside like he did against the shorter Porter. I'd be interesting to see how Crawford handles that.
That would be interesting.
Well, Crawford doesn't have to stay on the inside. He's got the footwork to take that away.
Good point. Very good point.
Like Mikey Garcia was able to do that. Mikey Garcia was able to survive and get away. Didn't get hit with any, like, he didn't get beat up to the body.
Mm-hmm.
So if Mikey can do it, then Terence can do it, and he's still dangerous on the back foot. He's still got that power on the back foot.
That's true, man. That's true. Now, listen, man, we're going to have to move on, but thank you for calling in. And anything else you want to say before we move on?
Yeah. That's why I don't promote like a fight. This fight needs to happen, because I feel like they listen to it and they be like, all right, I'm gonna make you wait a little longer.
And by the way, people are saying the stream is
the word gets around that much faster. Back in the days, to deliver a letter, you have to get on horse, right, and send it across territories. It's just an example, right? Nowadays, people hear about something, the word is across the world the next day. And just like that, we've been knowing about this for a while now.
You know what? I think I accidentally shut the stream off for a while there. But it's back. It's good. It's back on now. It's back on.
Gonzalo, go ahead. We missed what for the stream. Go ahead.
Yeah.
No, I just said that, like, back in the days, to send a letter from one place to another, you have to get on horse and take it across country, right? But then as the world has grown into what it is now, especially in the internet era, the news travels fast. I mean, the boxing world, we have this demand for this fight. Man, it gets played out that much quicker because we want it, right?
It's like an internet thought, right? You get her before she becomes too popular. Because listen. I'm gonna teach you young boys and girls that are listening out there, boys mainly. But when an internet thought is fresh into the scene, that's when you go after her, because when she's 2 years in, everybody got her. Everybody knows what she looks like, you know?
That's right, yeah.
Boxing, you gotta, like, you know, you can't be like, well, let me show everybody how good I am and then fight you when I'm washed up. You know, not washed up, but I don't have the same, you know, movement or desire or hunger to
By the way,
to fight like that.
I'm glad you called me a youngin'. But I'm not kidding, man. I'm 61 years old, and I got, not only that, my hair is white as snow.
51 or 61?
61, and my hair is white as snow, and I got a ponytail too on top of that. So that's just to give you an idea of what I look like.
Man, here's the trick, man. Here's the trick. Take it from a 47-year-old man. You got to cut the hair short. Makes you look younger.
I want that white ponytail, man. They call me the white stallion when I'm running around. But listen, the point is, no, but you know what? Gonzalo has a point, because there's two sides to this coin of fights not happening. One, these promoters do whatever they want and the fighters do. Or B, there's so much shit talking now from the fans on the internet. And a lot of these youngins, they read what's on the internet. So when they see guys shitting on them saying, oh, you a bitch, you ain't fighting this guy, you ain't fighting that guy, it does get to them a little bit. I mean, it seemed to have gotten to Canelo too, but not on social media. But when he would go to fights live in Mexico, and people would go, hey, you know, when you fight Golovkin, and he would get angry about it. He finally fought Golovkin. So what do you guys think? I mean, is the internet a tool that we can use to clown fighters if they're not taking the fights we want? Should we be doing it more often?
Yeah, I get this feeling that a lot of these fighters don't even like to turn on their social media, man.
It's a nightmare.
They don't care. Zero different.
It's like Stu. Remember Stu's story? his one of his old ladies were giving birth to his twins, and Kell Brook just got knocked out by
people were sending him. Yeah.
And they were just hitting him up.
Well, listen, it happened not that long ago because people think
I can't even tell that story without laughing.
Yeah, listen, it happened not that long. Go ahead, Gonzalo.
And I was gonna say I didn't stick around because I had to drive back. I was trying to get some internet over to watch the fight, and I didn't stick around to see the post-fight. Did Crawford actually vocalize the fact that he wants to fight Errol Spence? Because that's what's missing. Also, if he didn't, he's got to call these fighters out, man.
It was more of the Bob father.
It was awkward. It was very awkward.
He would take both Danny Garcia and Earl Spence and beat him on the same night.
Jeez, Luis, is this guy Bob Arum ever? He still controls the organization.
How was that? Was
right?
that good or that was terrible?
That wasn't no.
Be honest. Be honest.
Recognize you're good with impressions, man. But Bob Arum one, it ain't happening, man.
Well, I don't have that. I don't have that Jew effect. I don't
Well, let's see. I think Pete could get it because he's got that right. Pete, go ahead, man. Can you do the Bob?
Yeah, Pete, do it, Pete.
I don't have it in me, man. He looked like a guy that got a bad Reuben sandwich in a fucking deli. Typical old. He's just old, man, and he's not having it, and he's fucking frustrated with Heyman. We have to do a separate show about the business. What's going on, man? I have a pretty good understanding of it, but the fact is that he said something, pretty much. If we want the fight, we can do the fight. He'll fight him, but then he's ducking him. But then when Tessa pushed him, when you push Bennett, when you push Arum like that, when you start trying to like bust his balls about it, like, well, when can we see it? I go, he's gonna fucking uncork on Tessitore. He's gonna fucking scream at him. That's when he screamed out. That's when he started going that he would beat Spence and Garcia one after the other in the same night. He's the best
on the same ever. Night.
And he started naming all the legends.
Man, Bob Arum's got a set of balls on him. I remember when Morales lost to Zahir Rahim because they were setting up the Pacquiao rematch, and Pacquiao fought on the undercard. He won, and then Morales got upset, and he lost to Zahir Rahim. And then Larry Merchant, he's asking him his questions, and Bob Arum, you can see him skulking in the background, getting closer and closer, listening to the conversation. And then Larry Merchant goes, "Are you still gonna fight Pacquiao next?" And Bob Arum goes, "Of course he's gonna fight Pacquiao next. Of course. Hey, well, let me ask you something." And then Larry Merchant cut the interview short. But it was funny because it was like he's intervening. He's like, wait a minute, why would the loser fight the win? Like, how does that work? The guy just lost his fight. It should be Zahir Rahim against Pacquiao or something, or Morales Rahim too. No,
that was the third fight. That was for the second fight, right?
The second fight, yeah. So yeah, man, Bob Arum, he's got a set of balls, man. This guy doesn't care how he looks. Man, he called fucking UFC fighters a bunch of white supremacists, man. This guy can say whatever he wants. He's old and Jewish.
I'm not surprised coming from him.
Let me tell you something, man. Listen, he's the last promoter in the game, and these boxers need promoters, man. I'm sorry, but he's got a job to do, and no one quite understands what it is. But again, we'll have to get into it in a different show. But I do like. There was an interview where they were asking Broner. It was Broner or Garcia. Where I think Broner wanted 10 million or something. Anyway, he was just saying like, I'll fight him, I'll beat his ass, but the money's got to be, I told them Broner's just talking shit. So they go to Arum and they're interviewing him. I'm gonna find the clip. They're interviewing him and they go, well, how about Broner? And he's like, well, I talked to Al, I talked to Heyman, I have his number, I've offered him. We're trying to put the fight together. He goes, well, he says you only offer him $3 million and he wants 10 million. And fucking Arum goes, who the fuck's gonna pay for it? Who the fuck's gonna fucking pay for it? I'm gonna pay for it, not him. Like, in other words, he's saying, look, I don't give a shit what Heyman fucking says or what he wants. He's just taking his fucking commission. I'm the one that's got a fucking, you understand what a business is? Like plus and, a balance sheet?
Yeah.
I got
like the whole...
I'm putting a show together here, right? I got income from pay-per-view. I got income from Caesars. I got it, and I got to pay out. So I know he wants 10 million, but fuck him. And fuck Heyman too. That's his point.
Like the whole with Sushi Jean, what's her name? Fiasco. he advocated for Pulev too. Jenny Sushi, whatever her name is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't give a shit who gets kissed. I'm saying like
but he advocated for her in this time in this day and age where they like to you know what I mean. There's consequences for that. Maybe they didn't want to pick on the old man, so they left it alone. They brushed it under the rug.
But she's a woman, right? Or
I think she's a woman.
Yeah, she's a woman.
Because people were saying
she got a big cranium for a fucking woman.
She's got a fucking Neanderthal cranium in there. But what the fuck? Well, what happened to Jenny Sushi? Is she done or?
She's doing porn.
Wouldn't surprise me, man. Wouldn't surprise me.
Any sushis does that.
Her stage name is Some Dumb Hoe. Now listen,
she got a nice little payday. Under the rug.
Somehow.
I didn't see nothing wrong with the whole thing. But anyway, look, the point of the matter with Spence is that, how are they going to make this? I mean, it was an awkward post fight. I'm going to tell you that because
he was a bit cringy to me.
Yeah, it was cringy.
Terence Crawford.
The point is they're asking Crawford, when can we get a Spence fight? And he just looked over at Bob Arum. Did you guys catch what the commentators were saying that a letter came out in the Atlantic that Crawford's management sent to Arum?
For someone that's thinking of leaving Top Rank, that what you said right there doesn't seem to like that's what's going to happen. Why are you going to look at Bob Arum?
It seemed.
Well, watch the post fight. You missed it. Yeah, you could see it.
Yeah, it seemed like Bob Arum was doing his best to show Terence Crawford, like, I'm here for you, buddy. I'm here for you. That type of thing.
He should have brought over Jenny Sushi for him. Maybe he's just like, hey, listen, this is what I got for you, man.
Yeah, I got rid of Lomachenko.
What's that?
90 seconds.
I got rid of Lomachenko. Now you're pound for pound.
Yeah, now you're the next Muhammad Ali. You're better than Muhammad Ali. But
basically, what's happening here, BDA, is I think like Terence Crawford is wanting to stay with Top Rank, but he has to get him the Spence fight, and he has to pay him a lot of money. He needs to make it happen, right, Bob Arum?
Well, yeah,
Spence or Pacquiao.
You know what, man? I don't even want to. I mean, Pacquiao versus Crawford. I think at this point, Crawford's too big, too young, man. Too hard hitting.
Yeah, he probably beats him. Yeah, I agree. Probably beats him.
But why do we have to see him against a 40-something-year-old man? Let's put him in against Spence. Look,
money.
Crawford was saying that. Yeah, Crawford was saying he wants to get paid accordingly, man. By next year, you never know what could happen. Maybe this whole, I mean, I doubt it, but maybe this whole pandemic thing finally loses steam, and they get some people back in the building, and they can hold a fight with a gate and pay these guys what they deserve. Make it happen. Why not? I mean, listen. Maybe I'm just
if the pandemic will go away as soon as their plan of getting rid of Trump goes away, and
that's still.
Then everybody will be able to, maybe, I'm not saying right away, but, and I don't even know if that's true. I'm just making an observation that I think might happen. But the fact is that the money that Terence Crawford he may be looking for, for like the big fights with Manny Pacquiao or Earl Spence, you need a crowd for that, man. I mean, listen, let's just be honest. Like, how do you plan to pay these guys off of just TV revenues and pay-per-view? Still, like the gate is what, helps that out a lot, because these guys got to get paid too, the people that are putting the fights together.
That's true. That's absolutely true.
That's fight though, man.
I'm not in the business of making promoting a fucking big fight just to get like the short end of the stick, Yeah,
I'm not going to lose money. You can't do. Listen, they mentioned Pacquiao. Aaron mentioned it too. Kriegel mentioned something about basically that. Here's the thing, man. Aaron can send an offer over to Al Heyman, right? What's going to be the deal? First of all, I assume we're going to do this on pay-per-view, right? I'm assuming it's going to be a pay-per-view fight. Let's just say that. Let's just say that it's going to be a pay-per-view fight. So the live gate is one thing, but really it's more like a site fee, right? So the live gate is honestly, I honestly believe that the site fee to these guys is a major stream. It probably goes in this order. It's a broadcast rights, it's a site fee, and then it's the live gate. So if he tells Spence, let's do it, Spence and Heyman don't have to fucking be responsible for any of this. They don't have to put on any kind of show. Aram has to put the show on. But Spence is going to want to co-promote it, and then he's going to want this, and he's going to want that, and a guaranteed purse. If they just want to do it for a straight pay-per-view, then they.
But what do you mean Spence and Aram? Spence is not with Aram. You talking about Pacquiao or
and
Spence?
Heyman? Spence and Heyman. I mean, what are we gonna do? We're gonna put it on pay-per-view. They're gonna want to co-promote it with Aram.
Boxing's in a bad state, bro. It's in a bad state.
and that's what Aram's trying to basically.
Yeah.
Aram's
The more
trying
you
to
guys
basically-
talk, the more we talk about it, I just look into the future and I'm like, nah, it's not.
Okay, I see. Terence
That's not
Crawford's
gonna-
with
that's
Aram
not
too.
gonna. You need other revenue coming in, and nothing does that than people coming into the arena, paying for tickets, buying merchandise, buying food, buying drinks, all that stuff, man. You need that.
What I'm saying though is that the PBC is hurting just as bad. So these guys
No,
are
I
hurting
agree.
just as bad.
I agree.
I think Spence and I think it was the Spence Mikey fight. I think it was $2 million and then pay-per-view.
So they're both getting $2 million up front, right? That's guaranteed.
Yeah, it's a short purse though, man. That's a far cry away.
Okay, but here's another problem, Pete. That something that we got to talk about because it involves politics, but it affects boxing too. So that they're like a shutdown is almost imminent again, right? So people are going to get laid off. Are people going to really buy pay-per-view?
I mean, honestly, I think that the reason that you have like Tio and Loma, for instance, on ESPN, it's not about promoting boxing or anything. It's just that what sports are they going to broadcast?
No,
now you got college football, so now it's different. But I'm just saying, like,
I totally agree with you. Like, okay, so you put it on ESPN. That fight happened in October. It was still, things were picking up a little bit. They probably didn't do as good as they would have done before this shit happened, but they did all right? Like everybody came out okay, considering all the situation. But take into consideration, what if they say, let's shut down for another 4 to 6 weeks. Let's say they do it like in the ending of November, and they say let's do that. I mean, are people going to really say, you know what? I'm still going to pay for the pay-per-view that's coming up in January or December? More likely not, man.
Yeah.
There's a fight that
there's been no fights all year. You know what I'm saying? Like, in other words, people are going to buy a fight if you can. We'll have to do a separate show about it, man. I got a pretty good understanding of it, and it's a little more. These fighters, it's professional fighting. They're looking to make a check.
What the fuck's going on with you,
They've been out
man?
all fucking year.
Jimmy's sleeping. He's sleeping.
Jimmy, your mic's on, man.
What's up?
Your mic's
Jimmy,
on.
you fell asleep a little bit.
Yeah,
No, I wasn't sleeping.
I heard you singing a lullaby in your sleep.
He's concentrating. He's concentrating.
No, listen, I don't know what the fuck that was.
Hey, listen, Pete. I think you got your business cap on a little too much, and but we should do a business show on this one and just break it. You break it down for us. You bring the paperwork, and you show us what you got, man. Because I want to see, like, it's true with this whole COVID thing. It's definitely affecting these big fights. I mean, these promotions and the PBC. From what Jimmy keeps telling us is they're running out of money. So if right now, if they're being dried, how the fuck are they gonna do? How are they gonna continue operating? Was I gonna say?
I just say Texas. That's why these fights are happening in Texas now, I guess, because you could fill 50% capacity as far as attendance. That's
Right.
one thing that helps out.
Well,
the other aspects, I don't know.
Pete, you're from Florida. They're still holding live events over there, right?
Live events.
Sporting events, like you have the right to
Yeah,
gather.
but it's the 50% capacity. It's probably less than that. I don't know. Like the Bucks are playing. The Bucks are playing, and there's like, I don't know. It looks like to me, it looks like 40%. Everybody's all spread out.
Luis, yeah, that's now, yeah. This boxing thing, the sports, everything's starting to. Maybe Amazon's gonna come in and scoop all these fighters up from these dying promotions. They're gonna put on Amazon.
Maybe that's part of the plan, right? Like maybe Amazon is gonna be like, hey, Bobby boy, you're about to die anytime soon. So
Bobby.
I just think that if it looks like Aram is holding that fight up, he's really just over the last.
I'm the Bob father, all right.
Since Heyman's been on the scene, Aram's been the leader. That he's really just been trying to circle the wagons. I think on behalf of the sport, and he understands that they can't listen. They don't have any outlet. They don't have any venues over there. They don't have any outlet over there either. The PBC.
Mm-hmm.
They got pay-per-view.
Exactly.
I mean,
PBC don't even have an app. Come on, man, get an app.
Yeah, get with the times, PBC. What the fuck? Al Heyman's too busy. From what I hear, he's with the night walkers who have something in between their legs, if you know what I mean. He should be putting that aside. That's what I heard. I'm not saying it's true or not. But if it's focus on an app, 21st century, man. What the fuck?
No.
No, but listen, the point is this, man. Showtime has about 2 or 3 dates for the PBC. Everything else is pay-per-view. If they make Crawford Spence, it's probably going to be pay-per-view too. I mean, they're not going to put that on ESPN. I don't expect it to. And the PBC, they're probably going to want some pay-per-view revenue for that. I mean, I don't know how the fuck that shit will work out, but it's.
I know how it works. The thing is, it's like boxing had a situation where coming off of during the pandemic, it's about the easiest show to put on in terms of to broadcast sport. In other words, you don't have to deal with teams. You saw the World Series. They had to play it in the neutral site and bust everybody in. And
I didn't see that.
In other words, there's no travel, there's no team, there's no staff. I mean, you're talking about a 5-person team. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a relatively easy sport to put on, and we're at a time now where ESPN's paying for it. But that's a big fight, and I just think that dealing with Heyman is just a fucking nightmare. I really do. I just think it's like.
Is it me, or did you guys think that Bob Arum was a little too close to Terence Crawford? Social distancing,
That's a good point.
Yeah, he's telling him, like, just wait till Trump gets out of there. Listen to Recognize, like, it's he's waiting for
I'm just saying.
There was
I want to see the letter that they're talking about, but
he compared Deontay Wilder to Donald Trump.
There was an article there, right?
The in-house fights is that the one thing I'll say about the in-house fights is that I like the no PED testing. I like the fucking Vada Schmada, get out of here. Pio and Loma were both wide open. That's the way it really should be. I'm actually onto something about what Precise said about the rehydration clause. Ah, man.
Hey, listen,
man. Look,
go ahead,
if Crawford jumps ship and goes to the PBC, okay, yeah, he might get that fight, but it could be one of those situations where he leaves Top Rank, and next thing you know, Top Rank is really popping because it got all these future coming welterweights coming up from the lightweight division, from the 140-pound division. He just needs to get a couple fights in his resume. The names you want to see for him to get elevated into that Crawford and Spence into a position where we can give him credit, because with this fight, I mean, he just proved more of the same. It was a good performance, and I give him the credit that he got the knockout, but it was more of the same what we've seen from him.
That's a good point.
This opponent, 34 years, that's it, man. This guy, look, Kell Brook's a good fighter, but Triple G ended his career. With one fight, that guy threw his career into the abyss. That's
a great point, man. Like, that's a great point. He did what he, like, okay, I'm impressed because not every welterweight can do it to Brook what Crawford did in 4 rounds. But at the same time, we expected him to stop him. So it's like, how much credit, how many strokes are we going to give his dick because he stopped Brook and we expected him to? On the other hand, was that? No, stop. Will you stop with your goddamn pause and your Bob Arum impression? It's driving me insane at this time of the night, and I'm not going to have it. All right? I'm not going to have it.
BDA, we all thought, right, that he was going to stop it. The betting line actually started changing around 3 o'clock this afternoon. Most money started coming in on Brook. It's weird. Right at the end. They talked about it on ESPN.
It's the Brits. They got drunk. They got drunk by the time of the day.
Do you think it was going to be that? You think it was going to be that? I mean, so in other words, like, you guys like his power, right? He's got power. He's Tommy Hearns. He's fucking lanky. The whole thing, right? He's got power. He's whipping shots. So the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right. It's incredible. Switch hitter. But look, pause. But look, did you think that even with Kell Brook's orbital and all of Terence Crawford's power, you think a check hook was going to fucking send any fucking welterweight across the fucking running ass, almost went through the ropes like that.
That's a good point, man. Yeah, he almost fell through. At some point, I thought he was going to fall through the ropes. You're right. Yeah, like I thought he was going to do a Bernard Hopkins and jump out of the ring. But you're right, man. I mean, it was a bit of a
shit, man. It's that good stuff, man.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a disappointing night, man. But Gonzalo also talked about he made that good point, and he also talked about Golovkin destroying Brook's career. This is what I hate, man, because I want fighters to take risks, but then you see what happened to Brook, and you know, it's like we people are saying that Teofimo Lopez should jump right now in weight and fight Josh Taylor. Why, when he can make some decent fights at lightweight and clear out that division? I mean, I know he fought and beat the number one guy, but he didn't necessarily do it in the most convincing of fashion. So clear out a division, make your name as one of the greatest lightweights of all time, and then you can move up and fight the big guys. Because we see what happens when Brook didn't have to fight Golovkin, but he took the risk, and now look at what happened to him. He's never was. You know what I mean? I mean, he got that winner report. But what do you guys think? I mean, is he a cautionary tale or?
He's the definition of damaged goods. Because the same thing happened to him with Errol Spence didn't get the full credit he might have deserved, because what happened to him against Triple G, what happened to Kell Brook.
Mm-hmm.
So he's the definition of damaged goods, man.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I agree.
But that's what I'm asking you guys. I mean, like, is he a cautionary tale for other fighters? Like, hey, man, look, if there's a monster 2 divisions up, just don't try to be the big man and fight the guy. Just stay in your division, do what you got to do there. If there's decent opposition.
Yeah, I mean,
look, he got injured against Triple G, and then if you want to say that in the Spence fight, it was a factor. I'm with you. I get it. He's not going to take fucking huge punches from Errol Spence. It's not going to happen. You know, it's just not going to happen. In other words, right? But tonight, you're not telling me that he touched his orbital bone with that check and it sent him running. It wasn't like in the first fight when the guy got thumbed, right? When the guy got thumbed, Joe Tessitore actually had a good point, right? He just said, look how right after that punch, he was calling it a jab, you know what I'm saying? But whatever. Look how after that punch, now he's just basically covering his eye. He's just got that right hand up. So if he took a shot and got stung in his orbital bone, he either takes a knee like who fought Danny Garcia and Pacquiao?
Lucas Matisse.
He takes a knee like Matisse, and I ain't down with it. It just broke it again, or you see it in his body language, right? He changes his style up. So,
but that's the thing, Pete. That's the thing. His power is impressive, not because he knocked this guy out but because he's doing it consistently against a fight. And you might say, oh, well, Jeff Horn, this and that. Yeah, he was tough and rugged. This is with Pacquiao, he got him out of there. Now, Khan, he got a shaky chin, but he's a warrior. He never showed. Yeah, well, hold on. He never displayed that unwillingness to scrap when he quit against Terence Crawford. Now, Terence Crawford got this guy out of there in 4 rounds. Yes, the guy keeps answering the same questions, but the one thing that I have to point out is that the power is. I'm gonna bump it up a number. I thought he had like a 7. Now I'm gonna give it like an 8.
Oh.
That's the only thing I got out of this whole thing.
I agree with Gonzalo, man.
Maybe it was an 8, but now it's a 9.
I agree with you, Gonzalo. I agree, man. Because look, how many guys does he have to stop and knock out before we go, you know what, the guy can crack a little bit. I've been saying it for years too myself. I mean, it's pretty apparent to see. Now, of course, I'm not saying he's a Deontay Wilder type. Now, he's not going to take you out with one shot, but he does discombobulate you enough with one shot that the follow-up is enough to get the win. I mean, the guy can crack, man. The guy's very strong, and he's got speed, and he's got the switch hitting. And by the way, we got a guy named Ibrahim Ndungu in the chat room, and he says, I wish this gym can really sponsor me from African. I can also be the best like Crawford. Well, I'll tell you what, buddy, we'll help you out. Here's a StreamYard link. Jump into the StreamYard and tell us about your life, and we'll give you some free publicity, man. What do you think about that? But yeah, man, I agree with Gonzalo. Crawford's the goods. We're all very, 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 very primed to see him and Spence. But then again, guys, like I keep saying, we got to see how Spence looks against Garcia. Because if he looks like damaged goods, already we're taking away credit from Crawford for beating Brook. Imagine
if he's damaged goods, he gets beat by Danny Garcia.
If he's damaged goods,
I think Danny beats him.
I like the style matchup, man.
Yeah,
I like the style matchup. Danny Garcia's had basically his hardest fights have been against movers.
Mm-hmm.
He really just doesn't like to move, and even when it comes time that he should move, he just doesn't move. He'll put his glove on the ground and say, come to me," and he'll tell Peterson, "Come on," what the fuck? He'll tell he was getting after it with he was giving Keith Thurman a hard time about it. He's not going to move with you. So, and that's the way it is. So, in the last few fights at least, I haven't seen Spence is not going to get, he's not going to be floating around in there. He shouldered up stood in the phone booth with Mikey, stood in the phone booth with Porter. I like the style matchup. I really do.
You know what?
If he starts, Danny Garcia needs somebody to hook off with him. He wants to hook off with somebody.
Yeah, but Pete,
that's what Spence has been doing lately.
Spence, no, he's gonna stay. He's gonna use his own unusually long arms and try to keep Garcia. He's gonna try to jab Garcia from the distance without moving too much. And I think he blocks shots well enough so he can take what Garcia dishes. But look, Garcia's no dummy in there, man. He looks a little bit wild sometimes with those hooks of his, but he's got good timing, man. So I'm excited for that one.
Timing.
By the way,
that's what I'm saying.
We got Guerrero de la Info on the StreamYard. Guerrero, are you there? Guerrero.
Yeah, man, I'm here. What's up?
Hey, Guerrero, why were you getting into it with the Bucho on the community section, talking about where's the Mexican merch? Where's the Mexican merch coming, man? We just started out.
Oh no! I made a comment there, but I think it was someone else who was asking about the merch.
Don't worry, man. The Mexican merch is coming. We're gonna have some Aztec blood
cool.
sacrificial things going on. That's gonna be fantastic, man.
What about those fights tonight, man? Terrible, huh? All fixed.
All fixed?
I feel bad for Maloney, man.
Yeah, me too, man. Maloney, that was a fucked up situation.
They fed him some bologna, man. I'm gonna tell you that.
But check this out, though, right? Check this out. In a situation where a guy gets thumbed, right? He got thumbed. It's not even a foul, right? There's not even an inadvertent aspect to it, right? It was a punch, technically. That's the way it happened. It was a punch. The headbutt, they didn't clash heads. And
Recognize, mute your mic. Recognize, mute your mic, please, man, because he's walking his dog and you can hear the fucking wind. Mute your mic, please, Recognize. I can't hear Pete, man. There you go. Thanks, man.
I'm just saying, in other words, so Jimmy was right. In other words, it was under 4 rounds, and his corner told him, "Look, man, just say you can't see." He came out of it happened he got thumbed. So.
Yeah, man. Listen, thumbing is one of those hazards. It can still happen even with those. And sometimes it's not even the thumb. Sometimes if a guy just hits you with the right part of the glove in the eye, that's enough to cause some scratching. Now you add in the fact that I don't know exactly what the fuck happened, man, but these thumbless gloves, they're not as safe as people make them out to be. Weird shit can happen there as well. Guerrero, I wanted to ask you, man, you said the fights were fixed. Am I certain here in assuming that you're not giving Crawford any credit over the win?
Well, it's not that. I'm not saying it's completely fixed. It's just, I like the Greer Rodriguez fight, but as far as the main event, I'd say it is fixed because, Bob's matchmakers. Let's face it; these guys know what they're doing. They're keeping Crawford, or at least they kept Crawford. Hold on. Listen,
take it easy.
They've been keeping Crawford away from Pacquiao for years, so they know what they're doing. Brook was drained; he shouldn't be at 147.
Mm-hmm.
So on, etc. There's a lot of shit going on behind the scenes.
Are we allowed to talk now?
Yeah, Jimmy, go. Go ahead,
right,
Jimmy.
You got Mexican merch? You got the Mexican merch or not?
Yeah, I don't want him to flip out or anything. But by fixed, how much do you think? How many millions, or how much money did it take them to sit him down and convince him, his team, his family to go in there and throw a fight?
Guerrero, can you answer the question?
Yeah, I didn't get that question.
All right, Jimmy, please, can you repeat it?
How much money do you think it cost Crawford's team And who do you think was the first person to reach out to Brook to ask him if he was willing to humiliate himself for money, willing to throw a fight? A man who's fought his whole life, a man who, you know what I mean, who's been a celebrity person in England, was willing to like actually throw a fight. How much do you think it cost them?
Well, it depends on how much he was making in his recent fights. I don't know what he was getting. So, but
Millions.
I mean, I figure they double that. I figure they would say if he was making $2 million a fight, for instance, if they make a $4 million offer, and
so who would have come up with the $2 million? So you mean Crawford gave his purse to him so he could say he knocked him out? Or do you think Bob Arum took $2 million out of his pocket?
Well, hold on, Jimmy. Are you
saying?
Well,
listen. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying Brook took a dive. I'm not saying that. But if he,
that's what a soft match is,
right? If he
right. He was just saying soft
who wouldn't take the extra money, right? But I'm not saying that.
Sorry,
I'm saying,
all right, I apologize. And I thought what you were saying the fix was in. It was fixed. I thought you were saying like an earlier caller that he dove. That he purposely
the fix was in, but I don't think that Kell Brook took a dive. I just think
all right, I apologize.
That he simply couldn't go 12. Yeah.
Hey guys, do you think Stu, when he's on the next show, he's gonna call Brook a bum?
Yes, for sure.
Yes,
he said it, man.
I think Brook's gonna be. I think he's gonna be pretty upset.
Just like he got rid of Golovkin for Canelo, he'll trash.
Whoa! We gotta go back to the
That's
Canelo.
right. I'm saying it.
Yeah, he kind of turned on fucking G hard there at the end, huh?
Well, I mean, you know what? Stu's tired of people that. There was a while there were a lot of Golovkin fans in the chat, and everything Canelo did was he was the devil, he was Satan, the red-headed Satan, and Stu just had enough.
That part is true.
Okay, and Stu just had enough. He said, "Let's give Canelo some credit, man."
He just lost his shit. He's like, "I'm tired of these."
No, but Stu said that he would call if a fisherman gave him bad fish, he would call the fisherman a bum. So I'm just curious if he's gonna call Brook a bum. Because a lot of people are calling in now, Guerrero de la Info and other people have been calling in. They're saying, look, Brook, dehydrated, weak, not willing to take a punch, knocked out with an overhand left. What's up with that? And I'm thinking, hey, Brook was looking good for 2 rounds. And then the last one, he got caught, and that's all she wrote.
I think he was gamed, but like he didn't have, because he has to cut this weight. He's a wounded warrior. The will to take certain punches is not there no more,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he had the look of the wounded warrior.
Yeah, absolutely. Zalo.
It's interesting how a guy can have all the skills. I mean, he certainly had it, timing, power, good movement, but it's just, he's also in between a hard place, in between a rock and a hard place, in the sense that he's too big for welterweight. And a junior middleweight, it might be a little bit too short. I remember when people were saying, let's watch him against Charlos and against Jared Hurd against 154. And I was thinking, this guy's not going to make it against those guys. He's too small.
Those guys are too big, yeah.
Yeah, man. So I think
let's make another division, BDA.
Yes. Let's get WBC,
Charlo, Jared Hurd, J-Rock, all these guys are bigger than most middleweights right now.
Hey, but Gonzalo's right, man. Let's get the WBC to make another division for Brook. Guys like Brook, and that they can't make 147 anymore, but they're too small from 154. Let's make a special division for those guys, man.
150.
What would you call it?
I would call it the get the fuck out of here division. No, I don't know, man. I mean, it's make some more money.
I can't make welterweight division.
Is anybody surprised that they've already they're hinting around that? Who would be good for the new Wilder weight division? How about Deontay Wilder? It's so absurd.
Yeah,
but then you got like the Adrian Broner division too. You got many divisions in between.
You got Canelo weight. You got there's a bunch of weights, man.
Yeah, there was a time where these guys were making their own weight divisions. Like Canelo would fight like 151. Like who did he fight that was 158 or something crazy like that? Like it was a weird division. Who was it? I mean, I know
when he fought Angulo, he fought him at 150. What was it? 156? 155?
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck is that? It's like, just let the guy make the weight he wants in between the desired weights, and that's it.
Because he couldn't make 154 anymore.
Jeez, Luis.
That's why Floyd Mayweather was like, "Yeah, let's go down. I'm gonna take you down 152."
Hey, by the way,
you got the Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. weight between 68 and 75 too, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, he still wants to fight this motherfucker. It's like, nah, it's over for you, man. Get the fuck out of here.
Yo, he called out Berlanga. He said Berlanga's a bitch.
And Berlanga's gonna make him his bitch if he keeps talking like that. But I wanted to say also,
he's already a bitch, huh?
No,
wearing the high heels.
That was bizarre, man. That's. Yeah. But
some little drugs there.
What was that?
My hero turned gay, bro.
Drugs there, maybe. Maybe some drugs are kicking in now.
What's he doing to get those drugs? Is what I'm wondering. What's the price he's paying for those drugs, man?
What did Gonzalo say? My hero's turning gay.
He's on that Mexican merch.
It's like you look up to somebody, he's the man, and all of a sudden he's wearing high heels. I'm not talking about De La Hoya, because he's also my hero. Chavez Jr.
I think wasn't De La Hoya
his dad, but anyway.
Wasn't he with some chicks or something? Or he was with some broad and he put that shit on, they were having sex and doing drugs, he was fucking
you
around.
see that when I heard that story, right, because it was a girl, so I was like, wait a second, did they drug him or something? But then, like, if you look at the picture, it just looked like he was getting high, but he knew what he was doing.
Who,
the graduation photo? He's sitting on the stool. He's fucking, let's get.
Are you talking about De La Hoya or Chavez Jr.?
De La Hoya.
De La Hoya.
I was talking about Chavez Jr., but De La Hoya crossed my mind as I was saying it, because he actually was wearing high heels.
Yeah, he was, and fishnets and the whole attire. I asked Jose Soto Caras when he was on the show, I was like, hey, when you were in your meetings with De La Hoya, like, how would he dress? And he just laughed. He didn't want to answer the question, which is bizarre to me because
negotiate.
Imagine you show up for negotiations and these motherfuckers there with fishnets. Fishnets in the wig.
Fishnet bodysuit.
Yes. But hey, listen, I wanted to say something in terms of making weight. Mikey Garcia said he'd be willing to fight Teofimo Lopez. And I'm thinking, did you guys see Mikey Garcia when he was on the zone? The motherfucker looks like a middleweight. He's got a huge head, watermelon head. How's he going to make 135 or 140, man? I don't see it.
Now he's willing to come down and fight. He's a I don't know. He's a weirdo. I hope he does, and I hope Teofimo beats the shit out of him.
It's like when I met his brother. What's his brother's name? I'm freaking
Robert.
The trainer.
Robert Garcia.
Robert. When I met Robert, the guy's like a big Mexican dude. He was like 200 pounds, man, and his hand is thick as fuck.
That's
he's
called
like a big dude.
That's called a fat Mexican, Gonzalo. That's not a big Mexican. Come on.
But he's like heavy bone, man. I know he was thin when he was fighting at 135, but now that he's retired, he's an older man. Yeah, he's a fat Mexican, but he looks thick too. That's kind of like Mikey Garcia.
Yeah, they eat too much carbs, man. That's what happens with our diet. It's delicious, man, when you get that tortillas and beans and rice. But man, it's not good for making weight, man. It's not good for making weight. It's gonna balloon you up, man. And I mean, I don't know. This is how would you guys see it? Garcia versus Teofimo Lopez. Let's say it's the Garcia that fought what's his name? His last fight,
Spence.
Man. What's his name?
Spence. Jesse Vargas.
Jesse Vargas. Yeah, let's say
Jesse Vargas.
Let's say it's the same guy from the Jesse Vargas. Do you think he's got a good shot against Teofimo? Because let me just outline it for you.
Yeah.
He's got size. He's got good timing. He hits fucking hard himself. Like, there's a couple of things there that can make the fight interesting. What do you guys think?
Yeah, he's a dumbass. He should have just stayed at 135, 140.
But I'm talking.
It's a good fight, man. I would favor Teofimo, but that's a good fight.
What about somebody else? Anybody else, man? You think Teofimo might be
I give if Mikey comes in good shape, let's say it's at 140, Mikey has a good shot of beating him. Yeah, he has a good shot of beating him.
Is Mikey still with PBC or what?
I think he's with the zone, ain't he?
He's actually a free agent.
Free agent.
The zone. Yeah. So he's going to come back and fight Aram's. He's going to come back and fight Teofimo Lopez, Aram's guy. He's going to come back and fight on an Aram card.
The free zone.
Because I know. Mikey kind of ducked Lomachenko, but at the same time, one time they were together, and Lomachenko didn't seem too confident about facing Mikey himself because he was a little bigger. He was looking him up and down like, this guy's a little too big.
Well, we saw what happened when he fought a big dude in Lopez. Now, I'm not saying Mikey Garcia still Teofimo Lopez because Lopez obviously faster, but Mikey Garcia does have that timing, that quick counter, that power. I don't know, man. Maybe I
always said Mikey Garcia was the guy that has a really good shot at beating Lomachenko.
But I remember we all lost a little faith in his boxing skills after the Spence fight, though.
Well, I mean, it's totally different because the guy he was going up against was like 4 inches taller than him, had like, I don't know, like fucking 8 inches in reach over him. And Spence was boxing him too.
The power neutralized his skills.
He was using the jab, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a bit, maybe it was just too much for him. Obviously, Spence was a little too much for him.
Yeah, it's kind of like Lomachenko Teofimo. Lomachenko struggled a little bit. I know he came back, but the power of Teofimo kept him a little wary.
That's
Mikey
true.
and Spence, the same thing. He was just a little too worried. He didn't do much.
Hey, I see Guerrero de la Info I think he wants to say something. Guerrero, did you want to say something?
Oh shit, my bad. Guerrero was in there.
Oh no worries. I was just gonna say that Mikey's got a history of kind of ducking the top guys that are around his weight class. I mean, he wants the Pacquiao fight because he doesn't mind losing to Pacquiao. You know, I mean, he's a legend. He doesn't mind losing to a guy like Spence because Spence is a lot bigger. But put him in there with the top guy around his size, a guy that, you know, is supposed to be 50-50 kind of fight. And yeah, he's going to bitch out of the fight, dude.
All right, so you see Guerrero thinks Mikey Garcia is a bitch. I mean, I think the guy's fought some good opposition, but it's true. I mean, the Lomachenko. One thing I will say about Mikey Garcia is I think there's something to what Guerrero is saying because Mikey also always had a left foot out at the door, man. He wants to become a cop. He took those 2 years off. And he never really seemed to be too bothered by that. I think boxing for him is just something that he turned out to be good at, but that he doesn't necessarily love like other fighters. And so that's causing him to overlook the opportunities that are there or the fighters that we want to see him fight. But then again, he's the one that mentioned the Lopez fight, so you never know. Maybe he could make it. He's another guy that shouldn't be at welterweight, by the way. Should be at, if he can't make welterweight,
he's just a fat what do you call it? Lightweight.
But recognize, even when he fought Lipinets at 140, he looked a little like he had a little fat around over the trunks. And I mean, he did good in that fight, but he should be on 135 or at least 140 lean. Actually, if I show you the photo of his weigh-in against Lipinets, the guy almost had tits, I think. Hold on, let me see. Let's look at those titties, man. No, I'm not kidding, man. Lipinets weigh-in. He looked very soft in that fight. Very soft. Okay, maybe I'm exaggerating about the titties, but hold on a second. Where's the fucking... trying to find the photograph here. Nah, I can't find a good angle but of the tits. Gonzalo, you know what I'm talking about, right? All right.
Yeah. He's obviously when he fights in these weight classes, that's not his weight. He's got to go in bloated, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of a love handles or whatever you call those.
Yeah, love handles, yep. Turns into a fat fuck.
Yeah, man. I hope my Ryan. Was that?
Was Garcia? I was wondering if Mickey Garcia was a chubby kid. Because sometimes you just never get defined. You know what I mean? You always have a soft body, no matter how.
Well, look at his.
Try,
here's the thing, Jimmy. Here's the thing you want to look at. You want to look at his dad, and then you want to look at his big brother Robert. And his big brother Robert, right? Like he, more than likely, that's what he's going to be because that's his bloodline right there.
Hey, what happened to the other Garcia brother, the one who was training Victor Ortiz? And did they finally make up?
How many brothers are there?
Well, as far Gonzalo, go ahead. I think you would know better.
I don't know. I think one of his relatives he passed away. He died.
What the
guy was a fighter too?
The guy that trained Ortiz?
I'm not sure if it was him. It could have been.
I don't know,
his name
man.
was Pelos Garcia, or his nickname Pelos Garcia.
Oh, no. I'm talking about I'm not talking about that. He was a fighter. Yeah, no, I'm talking about the one that was training Victor Ortiz, and that caused a rift between him and Robert Garcia.
Victor Ortiz. What's the other guy that was a human punching bag? I forget his name again. Fuck is his name?
Rios.
Brandon Rios.
Brandon Rios. And them two reminded me of like fucking Mi Vida Loca, bro. Like they were gang members, and they just happened to box.
Yeah, Rios was crazy outside the ring, but actually that Robert Garcia 2011 roster that he had Mikey Garcia was undefeated, Brandon Rios was undefeated, Nonito Donaire, who was a top 3 pound for pounder, and a whole bunch of other guys too. I mean, that was the best. I mean, he still has good fighters. Don't get me wrong, but that was when people were saying, "Holy shit, he came out of nowhere with those fighters." It seemed, but he's a good trainer, Robert Garcia. But it's just the point. The problem is Mikey is not. He just doesn't seem to want the fights, man. He seems like he's in it for the money. He's looking for one big payday, and then he's gonna buy some guns, buy a couple of horses in a ranch somewhere, and just.
He's had a couple of family members that box turned pro, right? Not just his brother. I think somebody else too.
Yeah, I don't even know about the other brother you're talking about. I can't recall.
Okay, I'm gonna show you.
He had one more brother that boxed. I think he had an uncle that boxed. Then there was Fernando Vargas that was like real close to the family. He probably doesn't want to, like, maybe they, like, all right, I want to be a boxer, but I don't want to go through some of the shit that they went through. He probably remembers Fernando Vargas being punch drunk for like a year or two.
Yeah, man. I
mean, now with the COVID, he don't have a lot of interest because the COVID, no fans, no revenue.
True.
Gonzalo, I don't know if you can see the screen, but I'm putting the photo of the other Garcia, the brother of Robert Garcia. I don't know if you remember. He's the guy that used to train Victor Ortiz. He kind of looks Japanese in this photo. He looks like a Yakuza member.
He put that in the Discord, private Discord.
Well, actually, hold on. Let me put it on the Discord here. I don't like putting things up anymore on the Discord because it tends to fuck things up. But there you go. Yeah, you got the photograph right there.
Yeah. He does. Yep.
Do you remember him now?
Looks more like Mikey, right?
A little bit, yeah, man. But I forget. Mike is the brother of Robert Garcia and these guys, but he's just like he's much younger than them. But speaking of,
he was he's the youngest out of the brothers. I don't know if they have sisters, but I know
they do have sisters. They have, and I think they used to fight too. I don't know box, but I think that Robert Garcia has said that they would get into street fights or something. I think, but it's interesting because Mikey Garcia, I read a story on him once about how he started boxing, and his whole family would box, his brother and all that, but he was significantly younger, and he would instead of going to the gym, like he would go to the gym, but he would stay on the side playing Game Boy, and like so that meant that he never really went to. He was never really into the boxing.
I think Louis, why am I forgetting his fucking name? Guy grew up in my neighborhood. Shit.
Deval, whatever. Yeah.
His sister was a boxer too.
No kidding. Yeah, Chris Bird too. His whole family were fighters. His sister, his mother was involved in boxing. It's like they were all boxing.
Deval's family was all they were all involved in boxing too. I don't think they all went pro, but like his sister fought amateur boxing. I think she also turned pro.
And by the way, Ringside Charlie in the chat room says he's from Oxnard. He says Danny and Robert still don't like each other. Now, that's a shame. You want to see brothers getting along. You don't want a Abel and Cain situation. One thing I will say about Mikey Garcia, like I was saying, he would go to the gym when his brothers were training, and he would just stay on the side playing Game Boy. And the only reason he got into boxing was because one time they needed somebody to fill in a spot or something for an amateur tournament. It was like a little kids fight, and he said, "Oh, I'll box," and apparently he ended up winning, and that's when he stuck to boxing afterwards. But you see, it seems like from the start he didn't really. He'd rather be out playing Game Boy, and now he'd rather be out playing with his guns than actually boxing. So, and the way he lost,
Oxnard is a nice boxing town, man.
Yeah, it is,
really
man.
Think about it.
But the way he lost to Spence, I mean, I know Spence was bigger and all that, but Garcia never went for it. He never pulled the trigger. And even when he wins, like against the Lipinets fight, for example, Lipinets was going all out, doing his best to try to beat Garcia. And Garcia, it seemed, was just content to, block punches, parry punches, land one big shot here, land one. Like he doesn't seem to have another gear. And that's indicative to me of a guy that's just not willing to push himself in a fight. I don't know. Maybe that's the feeling I get from him. Listen, fellas, it's 3 o'clock in the morning over here. I think we're going to wrap it up.
Yeah, it's 3 o'clock in the morning where I'm at too, man.
So what do you fellas say, man? Anything else you want to say before we move on?
No, I just wanted to say I think Crawford fucking, regardless of the excuses that people lay at Brook's feet, still is a talented kid. And I saw a wrinkle in his game. I just think Crawford should start getting the respect. I think he's missed because of that name. But then again, sometimes it just takes eye test. You just look at that kid and you knew he was the goods, Mm-hmm. But anyway, you guys all have a great night. Thanks for having me on, BDA. Everybody be
Peace,
safe.
Jimmy.
Thank you for being on,
Jimmy. Peace, Jimmy.
See you, Jimmy.
One last thing. Yeah, good night, Jimmy. One last thing that I would have to mention is I wouldn't want to see, not just because I'm saying it, but this is just the way it is, him fight like a Sean Porter, because Sean Porter's lost many a times, and they would say, like, similar to this guy, he's fought a guy that's lost already many times. He's just getting everybody's leftovers. There's only 2 fights left for him. And the one that's the main one would be Errol Spence. The other, Manny Pacquiao, and maybe Enugas. But this guy would have to jump into like a real fight for him to get the credit that he deserves.
Yeah.
That's all.
Or maybe he could, because, I think it's pretty clear that the only one that's really going to fucking give him that 50-55 would be Errol Spence. So if he's at that point, maybe he should move up to 154 too. I know some people have said that or suggested that, so why the fuck not? Anyway, listen, fellas, thank you for joining us. Really appreciated it, man. Fun show. Late night comfy stream for everybody. Take it easy, fellas. Want to give a shout out to everybody that donated with the super chat, man. Luke Peterson, Chris K. Who else was here? Hold on. Yeah, Luke Peterson and Chris K, Mike P. Thank you guys for your contributions. Really appreciate it. Keep the gravy train rolling. We got some great things planned. Putting that money into the Blog Talk Radio, the Spreaker, so that we can put the episodes online. You can check them out on Spreaker, Spotify, iTunes, and we got the merch. Don't forget the BDA merch. We're gonna come up with more new designs as well. You got your t-shirt there. Crazy is good. Crazy wins fights. If you're crazy, man, it's the best thing you get in your repertoire. Can't buy crazy. So go check that out. Thanks to everybody also who joined us, everybody who listened, all the listeners. Guys, if you haven't subscribed to the show, subscribe, hit that like button, and spread the BDA gospel. That's about it, man. Thank you guys for joining us. Want to give a shout out to everybody in the chat room. I'm talking Sahid Khan, Norman Luis, Freddy Mar Andres, Bacon and Eggs, Bailout Mixtape, Fire, Campos Vasquez. Shout out to Guerrero de la Info, who was in the Discord, the StreamYard as well. Who else do we got here? Vince Vegas, Norman Lewis, Ringside Charlie, Brian Yambo, Kid Top Skull, Richie, Guerrero de la Info, like I mentioned. Shout out Jet Kyle, Fighting Words with Chip Bud, Steven Schneider, the aforementioned Steven Schneider, and anybody else, guys. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. If I missed anybody, you know the drill. I gotta go. But thank you for joining us. Take it easy, fellas. Have a good night. Catch you on the next one. We're probably gonna do another stream to cover this fight, or the last fight we just saw. Brook Crawford. Thanks, fellas. Catch you on the next one. Take it easy.